Hello. Welcome to Locksmith Late, number 14, I think. I've lost track. We haven't been here for months. How are you guys doing?
Good, brother. Good.
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good.
Cool. We have nothing on the docket today. Just talk. So, yeah. I broke my bong before this started. I was bringing my bong from the kitchen into my bedroom where I film, and I broke it. So now my entire house smells like resin. How's that for a development?
Yummy.
Yep.
But I don't smoke anymore, but I still can appreciate the artistry that goes into those. What kind did you have?
It was from a gas station, and it was a Rick and Morty bong, and it was Rick doing this. So I'm kind of depressed, to be honest.
I'd be a little sad. Rick and Morty's pretty cool. I don't smoke either, but if I had a Rick and Morty bong, I'd be upset that I broke it.
I might go into my kitchen later and smoke the floor. We'll see what happens.
He's going to be in there gluing this shit back together.
No, it's already in the trash. A lot's happened since we last had a podcast. What's up with you guys?
Work. Work as always, man.
Pretty much.
How's the mountains?
Getting out of the winter. We got like 3 products in the oven right now. Between developing that, finding good suppliers, getting ready for this summer, juggling life. Not enough time. 24 hours is just not enough time.
It seems maybe the winter coverage being gone, you might be getting a little bit better internet there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I switched providers, and I'm also upstairs because my downstairs doesn't have as signal degradation is a real thing. But with a 1950s home and the wood not being like crappy, it's actually good. Good rough wood that actually was produced correctly. The signal degradation going to downstairs is pretty bad. Like I hardly get signal down there.
You said you have products in the oven. You're working on 3 products. What are you talking about? Are you talking about like locksmithing or lockjaw?
Oh, on the lockjaw side of things.
Okay.
Well, kind of the same things, but yeah, we got not giving out too much. We got a case we're working on. We got some picks we're working on, and then we have some more stuff we're working on here pretty soon.
Yeah, nothing. You've released nothing. What about? All right, I don't want to get into it, but since we haven't been here in so long, we might as well talk about it. What do y'all think about NASTAF?
I don't do auto as much as you guys, so you guys have more skin in the game than I do.
I think I don't really care that I don't think it's going to really go anywhere. I think Autel's too greedy to lose all that money. So they're also not a government entity. So they really can't force anything upon anybody. There's no fucking laws that they can write that anyone has to abide by.
Eric, why don't you talk about how you're like the most Krispy Kreme white boy I know, and yet you still got denied for the application on the first run, right?
I'm still waiting for it, and I'm not. The reason I'm getting it is because of all the OEM shit that I do.
Mm-hmm.
With all the OE level dealer software, some of it just requires that bullshit. But yeah, like I filled out all the crap, and first I had to go through. They wanted, after getting my copies of my license, they wanted my plastic license, which I'll show it to you guys. I don't think I have my wallet up here though, but they wanted a copy of my fucking plastic license. The the one straight from DCJS through the paper, that wasn't good enough. So I had to send that. And then I sent like 4 fucking documents proving that I own my business, and that wasn't good enough. They still wanted something else. I finally, what is it? That stupid BOI, but the new shit the government's fucking making us file as business owners. I was able to send that over and finally get that as listed approved. So who knows where we're at now? Like a buddy of mine, he spent like, I don't know, 2 fucking days sticking with it and he got approved. I've been at it for like a month now and I'm still fighting to get everything done. Meanwhile, in my state, to get a fucking license to become a locksmith, you get background checked, fingerprinted, the whole nine. They do everything but stick a probe up your fucking asshole. And, that's not good enough for NASTF to say, well, you've been cleared. So here's here's an LSID.
Yeah, it's a little ironic if you ask me.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that the same people who are against firearm registration seem to be for NASTAV. And it's like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? It's like, when is anything like that good for the individual? I don't know. I'm a conspiracy
let's
theorist.
play devil's advocate here.
Go.
If you can prevent a gun from going off by stopping a registration form, it's a little bit different than preventing a guy on Facebook from undercutting your business. If you can do it, does that make sense?
No.
There's always going to be a
so
way
if you can prevent there is, and we already have half the manufacturers aren't even on board with it. So it's a half-ass measure.
Let's say they all get on board. All our internet-capable devices get on board. Your Autel, OBD Star, Xhorse, fucking Smart Pro, APP, all of them. Let's say they all get on board. What's to stop the guys like me and Jareth who already own these other fucking tools, like the IKEY 820, a CK100? I'm gonna say it. What's to stop us from using those? Like maybe we can't do some of the newest, but guess what? We can still go out and make a shit ton of fucking money.
And that's kind of what I thought also is like,
you know what I mean? So even if it were to go in full effect, it's not going to stop anything. It's not going to stop anybody. It's not going to stop the fucking scammers on Facebook for, doing keys for $75. They just buy another fucking tool if they don't already own
like Snap-on tools do them too. They're not. I mean, there's a
yeah,
lot of
exactly. Every diagnostic tool that Autel makes has key programming capability. No, a lot of people don't know that, but it's there. Every fucking, a lot of Snap-on tools, yes, they have it too. Matco tools, they have it too. Basically, a lot of immobilizer functions go hand in hand with just special functions in a diagnostic programmer.
Yeah,
I think that like if you got 90% of the companies to agree and have a NASTAF, registration portal, there's a huge opportunity for another company to come in and just say, "No, fuck that," and sell their programmer. You know what I mean? Because everybody's going to want to go to that. It's like, diffusion, high pressure to low pressure. Like if we're all being pressured on this fucking, you got to do it this way, but then somebody else offers a new solution, it's just going to immediately create a vacuum. You know what I mean? And everybody's going to buy that.
The marketplace will sort itself out.
Exactly.
The same way when Smart Pro says, "Hey, you have to have a token, you have to have our software." China said, "F you guys," and they dumped into the market, right? I mean, let's be realistic here. They've always bypassed it. I don't think you're going to get a Chinese company or any offshore company to say, "Yeah, let's abide by these rules at the cost of our profits." It's not going to happen. They don't care about our safety and security. They don't care about the people that are getting their Hellcats stolen. They don't care about that.
Right.
If companies cared about the rules, they wouldn't have sold so many KM100s to non-locksmiths. They sell all their shit on eBay. They sell all their shit here and there.
On Amazon.
YourCarKeys.com or YourCarKeyGuys.com, at the top, they say, like, we will no longer sell to the public. And Eric sent me a link last week, and I clicked the link. I added 2 transponders to my cart. I paid with PayPal. I didn't do anything special, and they shipped it right to my fucking door. And I was like, that banner is complete bullshit. Nobody called me. No one vetted me. And just because my PayPal says locksmithery in it, that shouldn't be enough, to prove my worth, I guess, so to speak.
Right.
So if they're trying to protect the industry, I get that. But it's like putting up a sheet. They're not doing anything. There's 1,000 workarounds. We already know how emulation works, and there's really it's not a very good. It's not going to be effective. Look at the key code situation. Oh, you want to get key code? You got to be a NASTF member. How many brokers are out there? Yeah, I'm sure there's one guy with one account that's really generating 500 key codes a day. He needs 500 key codes a day. Sure, he does. It's just what it is.
Well, from what I remember, NASTAF went through like a security like reformation. Like they kicked all the dealers off of their accounts because Chrysler dealerships were selling pin codes, and you could hit up somebody in Detroit. I remember, I'm not going to call him out, but you could hit somebody up in Detroit and send him $10, and he like owned a used car dealership, and he would send you the key code and pin code, no problem. And NASDAQ apparently cracked down on that, and now they limit, from what I understand, dealers to 8 pin codes a day, to keep people from doing that.
Yeah.
Now they also have this like 2-factor login. Every time you open it, you have to open. I'm gonna cover my token.
Ooh.
You have to open this program called Authy. I don't know if it's gonna focus or not, but every time you log into NASDAQ, you got to open this stupid program and put in another token, and it's basically just another way to track you. So if Jareth Garza logs into my NASDAQ account from Columbus, Missouri, and Columbia, sorry, the token is generated here in fucking Fredericksburg, and it pings off over here, and you go put the code in. It's pretty obvious I gave you my login.
So here's a better question then. How do we stop illegitimate people from accessing software?
You don't.
Yeah. The same way you stop them from buying guns.
You don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, you don't.
I get it.
Freedom comes at a cost.
I agree. We are not the only industry to have, issues with moonlighters, obviously.
Plumbers, mechanics, fucking painters, everybody. So,
how many people swear they're mechanics, right? I mean, Eric, you know that business more than both of us do. How many people say, "Oh yeah, this is how you do this," and then you get a look at it, and you're like, "What the hell even happened here?"
Yeah, that's another, like, there's no vetting in mechanics either. I mean, all you got to do is buy a fucking 808 on Amazon for $500, and congratulations, you're a fucking mechanic because you have a cheap Autel scanner.
Hey, you told me a story recently about how you were doing something, and some fucking clown with a $500 scan tool was like, you didn't fix my ECU or whatever,
Yeah. He was looking at historical codes, and was like, "Oh well, yeah. Look at this code. It's saying this and this and this and this." And then when I went and scanned the guy's car, they're all fucking historical codes. None of them were relevant. The only relevant code was the one code I diagnosed to be his fucking crank sensor was bad, and his crank sensor was fucking bad. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
I fucking did a Honda ignition rebuild about 3 weeks ago on a Saturday, mind you, right? And the girl was Mexican, and she could hardly articulate what she needed. But from what I heard, she said replace ignition, car no start. And I was like, what year? She's like 2006 Honda Civic. And I was like, oh, typical, right? Honda failed ignition. I go and replace it, rebuild it, do all the work. And when I'm done, I reshelled her key. She broke her key, right? Okay. Her key was in pieces. So I put it in a Durashell, cut it, put it in the ignition, turned it, security lights out, everything's great. And I go to start it, and it goes like that. And I was like, that's fucking weird. I was like, huh. I got to thinking about it, right? She called me. Her ignition still turned. And I didn't test it. I was stupid. I just jumped into the car and immediately pulled it. But her ignition was not failed like a normal ignition Honda failure. Like, it would turn. And she broke her key because she was turning it too hard. And she said her mechanic told her it needed a new ignition. Eric was on the phone with me. Eric, what was it?
Starter.
Fucking starter. And when I was done with her car and I tried to start it and it was like that, Eric knows, he was on the phone. I was like, this is not good. It's like, I'm charging her $500 and it's still not going to start. She's going to be, what the fucking about it. You know what I mean? And sure enough, she called me a few days later. And her mechanic told her that I fucked up her starter and that I need to give her a partial refund. And so, like you said, shadecraft, it overflows into every fucking field, especially mechanics.
Yeah, and what's really annoying between our field and the field of being a mechanic is if some half-ass jackass that claims to be a fucking mechanic says your car's broken, the locksmith broke it, then that's God's word in most people's fucking ears.
Whoever presents their case the best usually wins that. So if the mechanic is eloquent, it can print and say, "Oh no, your tail light was definitely affected by their programmer." It's very
and that's a thing. That's true because like her mechanic was Mexican and she was Mexican, and so she took his word because they were like brothers. You know what I mean? And I was like, "Look, guys, I fucking rebuild these ignitions all the fucking time," and it was still like she's like, "No, he say." I was like, "Ah, fuck you," you know, take me to court.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
An improper diagnosis is not my fault.
Right. And I have to tell people that every single day because as I kind of venture more and more towards this module programming and not as much locksmithing because of the competition here, I refuse to fight to the bottom. I'm not fighting to the bottom. You want to run around do keys for $75? Fuck yourself. Have at it. I found other niches. So while I'm doing this, though, I still have to fucking put that disclaimer out there. Dude, you diagnosed this problem. You called me and said you need an ECU program. If this bitch don't start, it's on you, man. It's on you. And like I have to tell these people that all the time, you know, and they go to these shade tree mechanics, you know, oh, my mechanics say, you know, it needs fucking new ECU, blah, 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 blah. You program the ECU, don't start. Sorry, bro. I did my job.
Paperwork.
I had a Hispanic guy get so fucking mad at me, dude. I drove all the way out to middle of nowhere, like an hour away, charged him $300 to program his Dodge, and he got so mad because it didn't start. I was like, bro, you told me this is what you need. I didn't come out here and diagnose it. If I diagnosed it and said it needs an ECU and it needs to be programmed, and I was wrong, I'll stand behind that. I will, and I have. I've been wrong before, and I'll stand behind it, and I'll correct the shit at my cost. But if I'm not wrong and I didn't diagnose it, fuck yourself, man. But that's the thing, though. Like, so many of these people, like I said, they listen to the mechanics, and they're just like, oh, you're just a stupid fucking locksmith, you know?
Yeah.
You fucked up my mechanic, he'd never steer me wrong, you know?
What's more complex, an ignition or an entire car's electrical system?
Right.
Throwing it out there.
Exactly.
I think a lot of it comes from people not respecting the locksmith, thinking that we're just kind of retirees and half-assers. You know what I mean? Some of us don't have like a lot of intellectual investment in this fucking game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I didn't realize how good of a mechanic I was until I fucking stopped being a mechanic. And I had to come behind mechanics and realize how stupid they are.
I was telling Eric that earlier on the phone. I was like, you do all this like, you know, ECU fucking reflashing and stuff. I was like, that goes hand in hand with like your journey. He was a mechanic, became a locksmith, people bullshitting. Now he's fixing problems that he's not supposed to be fixing like a mechanic again. I was like, that's an arena I never want to play ball in, is arguing and proving shit, you know? Like, I know I'm right because it says I'm like right here. Like Eric can do that all day. I prefer just to get a fucking job done, you know, with as few customer interaction as possible. And with his work, he often gets calls back because he'll go and fix an ECU and it's not the problem. And they call him like, our car still doesn't start. And he's like, you know,
well, time to put on a different hat now. You know, you're just trying to take the locksmith hat off. Exactly.
And I feel like a lot of automotive is going that way because now we're being forced into like, we're being funneled into OEM software, you know, and NASDAQ. It's kind of fucked. So it's like, oh, you know, I already have the software to do a key, you know, key matching. Might as well do a PCM.
Yeah. I've been doing it for a long time. Like even when I was a mechanic, we tried to do as much of that in-house as we could. I remember my boss sending me to fucking classes when I worked at the Corvette shop back in the day. That's when the Tech 2 was the fucking latest and greatest from GM, dude. Like that was the baddest shit out there. And that was it. And I learned a lot of stuff with the Tech 2 that was, you know, really cool. It got me really interested into that whole field and messing with all that shit.
Didn't you just do a Saab with a Tech 2 or something like that, or a Tech Stream?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Talk about that. I had never done a Saab with.
Actually, I have a Tech 2 in here, but it's actually incredibly easy. So you just basically plug in the Tech 2 and tell it to fucking program a key, and they're done. You got to get security authorization from it, which we have to use TIS to web, which is defunct at this point, but still not hard to do. You can just emulate it.
See,
That's pretty cool.
hardly understood anything.
I did recently learn though, even back then when that was relevant software and a new tool, the sob dealer was still, there's no way in to do all keys lost. So what we do with EEPROM and everything when it comes to all keys lost, that's
relevant no matter what.
Yeah, relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like back then, they were replacing fucking modules, dude. They were replacing modules and using the Tech 2 to synchronize them, and then that's it. But I didn't know that. Like,
you guys are literally performing.
You can only do added key. You can only do spares.
Yeah.
Fucking
That's not good.
AR32 has a SIM module refurbishing file, or what's the word I'm looking for? Restoration, maybe? I don't know.
Like a base file, but it's clean, like a Virgin file.
Virgin file, yeah. It God damn it, I lost my train of thought. AR32 has a file for the SIM module, and I used to sell those on eBay. Like I literally have a whole box of them still. But you just re-virginize it, and then with your shit, the Tech 2 or Tech Stream, you resynchronize it to a car.
Yeah. So you make the module virgin and then go synchronize it to the car. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Those sold like hotcakes, man. I tell you. And I used to sell those. Forgive me, I'm just eating this this blunt over here.
You do it the old-fashioned way. Get some phone book papers.
Bible? No, I'm kidding.
You never been 14 trying to get on a wicked one before?
Man, I was 14 smoking out of an apple. Not.
Yeah.
Soda cans.
Yeah, I honestly, the first time I smoked.
Oh, yeah, the folded up fucking ink pens and shit.
Never done that.
Oh, dude. So my first pipe I ever bought was in Canada. I was up there on a trip for high school marching band, and Mr. Johnson, my band director, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. So almost died out of anxiety trying to smuggle this little. It's called a prototype. It was made out of brass basically, and it had like a little cleaning rod you could take out of it, and had like a little mesh screen you can take out. And the guy that sold it to us in downtown Vancouver says, if you want some more screens for your pipe, go to the hotel you're at. Take off the
cover. The sink faucet.
Yeah, for the sink faucet. He said, hey, take that off and then rub it on the carpet. That way it gets all the grime off of it. And I'm like, I'm a kid. I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea, man. So we did that. I got so sick. I got the biggest headache. I'm trying to smuggle the pipe back into the States. And I'm like, I'm going to go to jail forever, man. This is it. I'm done. Now they sell it at 7-Eleven. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, my God. That's fucking great.
Marijuana is as legal as fucking liquor in Columbia, Missouri. It's crazy. Oh, excuse me.
All that time and money convicting weed, and now it's just everywhere. So
I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah.
Think about all the people that went to jail for it.
Hey, there's probably still people in prison right now because of smuggling and shit like that.
Yeah. That's exactly. There's probably people still sitting in jail because they had fucking too much weed in their possession that's now considered legal.
I thought Obama or Biden? Someone did a big push and a big purge for all that. No, maybe it was Obama because Kamala Harris was from California and she probably didn't want that on her record for all that shit to be just wiped out. I think it was Obama. He had a big expungement of marijuana charges.
I'm going to laugh if it was Trump. Nobody gives Trump credit for anything good.
Well, we'll see what happens in about 5 months from now.
Yeah.
Not counting on it.
So make sure you got those guns ready to go.
Yeah, no, Mr. fucking Armory. It's crazy.
Got to stock up, man. Stock up.
Are you ready for Texas, Chris?
I think so. I think now that the weather is getting better, I'm going to start doing the build soon, and then then I also got to work on my merchandising side and having that ready to go for Texas too. because I keep forgetting that we have booth space, so we're going to be able to bring quality products to the people. All like 250 of them.
Nice.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
We haven't really narrowed it down exactly, but I am new to Locksmith. Well, Locksmith is one word. Welcome.
For starters.
He's very new. Okay, he's very, very new. Okay.
Oh fuck! I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, talk about the rules, the 555 rules that you came up with.
Yeah. So the system, we try to keep it simple, right? Because when it's a bunch of guys in the room, you want to talk about kissing, keeping it simple, right? That's what we're doing here. That's supposed to be a pause, and Jerry was supposed to say something witty, but he didn't. Now I look gay. So anyways,
well, no, you said kissing, and you didn't even say it right. It's keep it simple, stupid. So it's kiss. All right.
Kissing would be the. Oh, God, what have I started? Okay, so 555, 5 competitors at a time, 5 locks, 5 minutes. It is quick, it's effective, and it makes the process not because last time we had 10-minute rounds, 15, 5. How fast were the other rounds? I don't remember last year. 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
We also only have the one display to work off too. So we're gonna have 3 competitions. There'll be 2 happening at the same time. This may sound, keep with me on the math. So 5 people on each course at a time. Should take almost 2 hours. But yeah, it's 555. So you have to worry about going against the entire crowd at once. It's not going to just be a quick thing. There'll be time for people to get in, compete a little bit, check out the convention, and then get back to enjoy themselves. $1,000 cash prize. That's going to be fun.
Are we still doing that?
We're still doing that, yeah. I know there's some changes. There's some changes and some things, but I don't see that being any different than what was already going on before.
Yeah, we lost a sponsor apparently, so
yeah,
I think we're just gonna make that up where we have to. But let's talk about the categories. Now we got you explained the 555, and I almost fell asleep. So try to make this interesting. How we have 3 categories, right? We have wait, hold on. You got to do 3 like this. You got to do 3 like that, or else we'll get caught. Like we'll get caught if we don't. We got padlock, open, and leashy, right?
What does open mean? What is it? What does that mean? What does open mean?
Your mom?
What does open mean? Like polyamorous? Is a polyamorous competition? What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think what it means, if you can stick it in it's eligible. If it fits, it ships. Is that right?
Padlocks.
I can bring my drill bit.
Oh, non-destructive.
There will be no rotary picks will be allowed. So starting with the first one we already announced is going to be ranked padlocks. Now, if you're not familiar with ranked padlock, we are going by the belt system. You may think in like, what do you mean belt? So what's he doing? Yes.
So like American locks are ranked, and pack
belts
locks are
that
ranked.
have a corresponding degree of belt like you would find in karate or martial arts. So, white, orange, blue, purple, green, black, everything. Obviously, the higher rank, the harder the padlock is. There'll be 5 of those. Obviously, I don't think we're going to be putting black belt locks in there because no one's going to pick a black belt lock in under 5 minutes they've never touched in their life while it's hanging off of a specific device. It ain't happening. I'm being pragmatic here. It's not going to happen.
Oh, hell no.
We want a challenge. We don't want it to be impossible. It's 5 padlocks, 5 ranked padlocks. Next one is going to be, Jareth calls it open. I call it domestic.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
You can call it household. You can call it whatever you want. But it's going to be locks that are typically found on buildings. So we're talking deadbolts, knobs, maybe some mailbox locks, maybe some cabinet locks. It'll be things that are not padlocks and not automotive. So kind of things that fall into that category. We could be talking about, and that I'm not giving anyone any spoilers, but it could be like a Schlage 6-pin. It could be a 6-pin or a 5-pin Yale. It could be a 1646R. It could be a just put a Y11 in there just for fun or something. So it's going to be a variety of increasingly difficult domestic grade locks that we have in the United States here.
In domestic category, you can use any tool that you want, right? That's non-destructive.
Yes, that's where the term open comes from. You can use anything you want to open it that is not destroy it. So that includes your bump keys, your pick guns, your electric pick guns, any
you can impression a key. If you're quick enough to impression a key, that's an option. So
if you can sight read an SC1, you fucking do it. Doesn't matter.
Dude, that'd be fucking
We're not going to do
tight.
smart key locks because I think the smart key locks are going to be prohibited just because the threshold for making or bypassing those with tools is just ridiculous with a scope right now.
Yeah, because you're going to have to cut a key.
Yes. No one's bringing a pack-a-punch with them unless they're Jareth.
I like how you called that. All right, so
wait. How come we don't make shirts that say pack-a-punch on it and have your face on it?
I would rather have one that said always packing.
And then just have a pack-a-punch on there?
Having some dude holding pack-a-punches like, you know,
grill,
looking stupid. Yeah.
Have some .240s and some 171 pins in his mouth or something.
Yeah, one green one especially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I gotta write that down. Hold on.
Always packing.
Goofy ass shirt that Jareth inspired. Got it. Number 3 is going to be my personal favorite because of the people involved and kind of what it implicates. But we're doing not another, but it'll be a reformatted version of last year. So it'll be a Lishi competition, specifically for automotive. We have a pretty large interest in that when it comes to people that self-proclaim to be Lishi champions. There'll be 5 automotive locks. Leashes will be provided by the TLA. We will have referees on all of them, but specifically this one, the Lishi competition or Lishi portion of it. Steve Sacco is going to be officiating that one, who is I don't want to use the word official representative of Lishi, but he has some very
certified.
Strong. There we go. Yeah,
he's a certified Lishi instructor.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's one of 3.
Who are the other 2? Is it Hoffman?
No.
Steve.
Corey Thomas. Fuck. Texas. Unlock Texas. That guy. And fuck. I know his name. I'm just blanking. He worked for HL Flake.
Not Lambert.
No. He looks like the Beetlejuice actor.
Michael Keaton?
Bruce? Yes. I want to say his name. Not Bruce Horn, but it's another person. It starts with a B. I don't know. Anyway, there's 3 that I know of, and Steve Sacco is one of them. He's going to be in Texas, and he's non-biased. He's on no one's side.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be fucking official.
Somebody said cool.
Speaking of referees, though. If anyone knows, yes. If anyone knows anyone that has a...
I'm going to look it up.
So we're still looking for one more referee because I know we haven't quite pinned down that other person. So if anyone is interested and they'll be in Texas, I think the back end of September, definitely reach out to the TLA, reach out to one of us. We're looking for someone still.
That's one of the certified guys.
I can't see shit.
I know, it's fucking just for fact checking.
Okay.
It's Thomas Corey, Unlock Texas. That dude's got a cool ass business name. I like it. What I wanted to say is here's what I think is important about the competition coming up. Last year it was like Lishi, right? That was it. And Sandman showed up, who is a lock picker, and I was a lock picker before I was a locksmith. So Sandman said had he had rakes and picks and blah 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 instead of Lishi, he probably would have won. Now, of course, I find that, to be absolutely insane because I would have beat him also again if there were lock picks. But he had a point because you can rake a lock. You can do a lot of things. And so what we've done is we've done anybody, anybody can be champion here, it seems. The old guy who has used an electric pick his whole fucking career, right? He can potentially win domestic because there's going to be Yale, cam locks, whatever. He can rake, he can bump, he can use a pick gun, and he has his skill set that he can bring to that challenge. The automotive people who are used to like leashy only, who have never held tension wrenches or a single hook or whatever, they have their section of automotive, and the lock pickers have the padlock section that's even ranked, that they're probably going to win, right? So it's anybody's challenge, and that's kind of why we were talking about a grand champion. If somebody wins more than one, and is a majority out of 3, they're a grand champion, right? Yeah.
So that's a good segue to the next thing.
What's the next thing?
How do you win the competition? I mean, how do you win? What's the prize? Checks and balances are kind of important to this because, like you just said, we have our lock pickers, the hobby guys. They probably don't use leashy. Yeah, they'll probably mop the floor on the padlocks because that's what most of them train on. They're not set up entire ignition systems in their houses. And
right,
then the everyday locks,
internal 4-track and shit like that.
No, and the guys that are field heavy, they're out there every single day doing house locks, commercial locks. They can hand pick a best, no big deal. And then the guys that are purely automotive. So it's a very good mixture. But if there's that one person that is good at all 3 of them, they're gonna mop the fucking floor with everyone. It's gonna be pretty quick, obvious. So it's gonna be real interesting to see, I think, when the sport pickers can't pick a KW1, or not when the sports pickers can't pick a best with a leashy, or when the automotive guys can't get through an M1. You know what I mean? It's gonna be real interesting to see. There's gonna be some big differences in skill levels. Winner being.
I'm looking forward to. I fucking want this to happen. I want an old man to just show up and just clean house with like an electric pick gun. You know what I mean? I just want him to just zip through and be like, oh, old ass, been doing it for 30 years. Because like before I was a locksmith, my cousin told me she locked herself out of a hotel room, and an old man came and charged her $180. And he just used a gun like this, and it was open like that. And I was like, that's pretty gangster. You know what I mean? She was pissed. She's like, he just showed up, opened it, and left. And I was like, yeah, nice.
I have the Chronos gun. Oh, yeah. I love them. The Chronos gun's awesome. It doesn't work well on complicated is not the right word. So like your Wisers, your KW1s, even some of your Slegs are okay. But you throw a yell at that thing, it ain't going to work.
Paracentric keyway.
Yeah, it ain't gonna work. So, how the winner is determined. So we have 3 competitions. We'll be keeping track of times. So as soon as it's over, it's done. It's not like, well, that person got first, this person got third. As soon as someone finishes it, it's over. If they finish that course in 3 minutes, it's over. When we run to the 5-minute point, it's whoever had the most picked. And obviously, if there's more than one person, then those 2 people kind of move on to the next thing.
What about a tie?
But so in the rare instance, there's a tiebreaker needed to determine who's going to win this whole thing. The judges will get together, or the referees will get together and say, hey, we're going to pick a course, and then we'll run those 2 people on it, and whoever gets them all, whoever gets the most in 5 wins. I don't think we're going to have more than 2 people in that situation.
Explain this real quick to Fred real quick. There's going to be pin tumbler locks. There's going to be wafer tumbler. There's going to be, internal, probably external, high security. Automotive is going to be leashy because that's what we do. Nobody's picking an automotive lock with a hook. So except if, your cheese guy. Shout out. And the lock picking section for pin tumblers, padlock. Padlock's going to be basically all pin tumbler, if I had to guess.
Everything's going to be pin tumbler except for automotive.
So that means
Right.
that there's no wafer locks in open, huh?
Oh well, maybe there is, maybe there isn't.
Oh, you said too much, Chris.
But if you can't pick a Y11, then you probably shouldn't be attending this competition. I'm just saying it. I don't know. There's still a lot to be determined. Just be on your best. Go practice. Know how to use your tools. Yeah, it is a BYOB situation, so we aren't going to be supplying any of the picks outside of the leashy portion of it. So make sure you guys have your steel polished and ready to go by September.
Yeah, fly through airport security with lock picks, which is easy because I've done it 100 times. Not really. I've done it 5 times at least. I've
Don't put in your
taught a couple
carry-on.
leashy classes. Huh?
Don't put in your carry-on. I know that.
I put it in my
They
carry-on.
don't care about that.
They don't care about little metal tools that look like little knives going through.
Wear something like this. And, you can get this at lockjawmanufacturing.com, lockjawmfg.com. Let the world know you're a locksmith. So, you don't really have to explain yourself through TSA. They just take it, for what it is. Nobody is faking this shit right here. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So, real
100%.
locksmiths only.
Real
Real.
cool locksmiths only.
Chris has to vet all his customers who buy t-shirts.
Yeah, Chris has to vet all his
That's right.
customers or he's legally liable for any crime they commit. So
I
he's
stalk
very-
him on Instagram and Facebook. I do.
Yeah, he's very, very careful. eBay, you can find these on eBay also. So
It's true. I know I'm not greedy. I think everyone should look cool and pay me money. So
yeah.
Hell
Hopefully
yeah.
we have some
Fucking
products ready.
excited. Huh?
I said hopefully we have some products ready by September. Some of these new things, which I'm super stoked about. I think the automotive guys will like this. That's all I can say.
Lock
Was it some
picking
of the pictures you
competition is
sent me?
gonna huh?
Yeah,
The
that
lock
picture's
picking-
part of that project.
Okay.
The lock picking competition is gonna have an entry fee of $25 for TLA members and $50 for non-TLA members. Is that right?
How do we pay that fee, Gareth? How do we get that monies to the TLA? How do we do that?
I think we're waiting on them to create a portal. There's
Yes, there will be a
how
registration soon.
there's going to be 50 positions only at this time is what I'm aware of.
Mhm.
I think 50 only. So,
We could do more, but for time constraints, we're already padding it as it is. Figure there'll be some pomp and circumstance, and people talking and raffles going on, and vendors need to do stuff. So we don't want to take the entire thing over. We're there as guests. We gotta make sure we leave time for them to conduct their business, what they need to do there for announcements and drive people for membership. So that's part of what they need to do also. So leaving some space there for that gives us roughly 2 hours, and for a 4-hour event, I think that's pretty good.
I think we'll pull it off. Pull it off. I'm getting lazy. I'm too high. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Hopefully
I don't see
it starts
on their
11
page.
a.m. That's the goal. No, it shouldn't.
I forget the
maybe
date.
That's what someone.
It's like September something.
21st.
18th.
I've been writing it down all the time.
No.
Yeah.
The convention's on the 21st. I think.
The convention is the 21st. Yeah.
Pflugerville, Texas. Be there or be square, I guess.
Or don't.
We're gonna probably have it live in a couple places, I'd imagine. I know Sandman's gonna probably have his thing going, streaming it. It'd be wise if the TLA did the same. They have a YouTube or they have a Facebook, and then obviously I'm assuming you guys will have yours here for Academy, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking so. It is a challenge filming that live though, but yeah. There was something I wanted to fucking talk about. I can't remember though. Well, don't let me hang us up.
Good job, Jared. You're a fucking ocean of conversation here. What's going on?
My bad. Participants are also going to get a free something. We haven't decided.
We
We
have
might
not
get something
decided.
cool.
It might be a
trophy-
firm handshake. It might be a patch. It might be a sword. It might be, a ferret. We don't know yet.
We haven't decided. I would hate to get
A
a ferret
sword.
as a prize. Yeah.
If it's a sword, I'm signing up just for the fucking sword.
Ceremonial
We're-
lock-picking dagger.
We were talking
Yeah.
about a whole bunch of ideas for the trophy,
Oh,
none of
dude.
which are concrete at this point, so we can openly discuss it. We
Yeah.
were talking about a crown, a belt buckle, a ring, an Olympic-style medal, another belt, because people keep telling me they're coming for my belt, and I'm like, my belt says 2023. We're not going to give it away in 2024. You know what I mean? So
That was something we talked about last year. Is like, well, does the belt come back every year? It's like, well, no, because let's say that person stops being a locksmith. Like, does that mean the competition's over? Like, no, you gotta something new every year, and it's not like it's unique in that manner. But
yeah,
I'm still on the idea of a claymore. That'd be fucking badass. To have an engraved claymore is your prize.
let me find something really quick if I have it near me. Hold
I
on.
like the crown idea. That sounds like it could be pretty cool too.
Yeah, but Jareth wanted to make it out of
Like
like
it was a fucking lockjaw design crown.
yeah.
It would be cool.
It's Jareth makes it's gonna be like 100 pounds on your head. Jesus.
That's a padlock, a military padlock, and I've always thought it looks like a claymore.
That's the
Yeah,
first thing I
that's
thought of. I'm looking for the printing. Okay.
Yeah. Anti-cut shield. The shackle rotates so that it resists grinding attacks.
Ooh, they should do
It's
that
got
more often.
A Medico classic keyway with an anti-drill ceramic insert that also spins to protect the keyway. It's supposed to be explosive proof, cutting proof, grinding proof.
Well, which military is that for? Is that like a NATO lock or is that like a US lock or
US.
oh good old USA? Okay. Nice.
This company, High Shear, they used to make explosive rivets for fighter jets. So whenever a fighter jet ejects, it blows the canopy. And this company produced the explosive rivets to blow the canopy. And they also produced scissors and cutting tools for metal, like aviation cutting tools. And so there's a contract for an armored padlock, and they actually won the bid.
That's a good looking lock. What's that thing weigh? Like 10, 15 pounds?
It's like 5,
Nice.
which is heavy for a lock.
Yeah.
That is a lot of weight for a lock.
It's a cool fucking lock. Oh, this is something cool right here. This is a Natick hasp, which has carbide rods inserted inside of it. You can see it right here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cut resistant. It's got a special alloy, so it disperses heat apparently. And on it is a Sergeant Greenleaf 826C with a Medico lock. So this would be on a container holding munitions or just whatever the fuck they wanted to protect.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Have you seen those NATO lever locks before? I think it's the Mercy locks. Those are mean. Those are mean. We have go look at one sometime. They're pretty cool. I know that NATO had their own. What's I'm looking for here? Their own commissioned security hardware.
I didn't know that either.
I know they have NATO rounds and stuff. But I know they have anything for locks and hardware though.
Oh, well, shit. Ain't much going on with me, y'all.
How's life in Missouri treating you? Yeah.
Pretty good.
You guys get any of the weather? I heard that the Midwest is getting hammered by some tornadoes.
I haven't seen any tornadoes, but apparently the rest of Missouri has. Somebody just commented earlier.
So yeah, somebody asked about that.
Yeah, because they're in apparently Knobnoster, which is home to the B-52 stealth bombers, I believe.
Knobnoster, that's a city?
Yeah, it's home of Whiteman Air Force Base, or Whitman. I forget how you pronounce it. But I've seen stealth bombers my entire
Based on the
life.
name, I'm gonna say it's white man.
Yeah. I've seen stealth bombers my whole life, and so they're not new to me. But like Knob Noster's home of the stealth bomber. It's fucking cool. I've never been there. Mostly because the name of the town sounds so gay.
Yeah, it kind of does.
You just like drive around. You're like, nope, I'm not going that way. That goes through.
We'll get
We're
gas
gonna go around
elsewhere.
this town.
Yeah.
I don't know why you have a southern accent, but in my
Yeah.
interpretation of it, you do. I don't know why.
Put a fucking beltway around that town. Yep.
Big old roundabout. Going
Mhm.
around this. Yep.
So did you guys see they have the leashes coming out with the Schleg LFIC tool?
Does that
We got
just
that
mean
one.
it's? Does that mean it's extended so that it'll extract it?
I'd imagine so. That'd be dumb if it wasn't. HU64
Did you see the
is coming out also.
notification?
Yep, the 8, 9, 10 dog, 8, 9, 10s.
What's so special about that versus what we already have?
Yeah, Chris.
I'm not a fucking leash. You're barking the wrong tree. I'm just talking about new shit coming out.
Oh, he's like 8, 9, 10 dog. Like we can't already do it.
I like the new
I can
HU.
barely leash you a CY24. You're barking. I'm not talking shit.
I like the new HU 101 with the cutout.
I haven't run into a problem where I needed that yet, but
Apparently, the new Jaguars and shit, the handle, you push it in and it's got the lock like built into the handle, so the leash will sweep around it without fucking hitting it. You know.
yeah, the new Mazdas, I have the one with the notch, and that's actually been really helpful because I have run into a lot of the new Mazdas.
Me with an angle grinder modifying my old leashy so I don't have to buy the new leashy.
You're not getting $50 out of me, homeboy.
Yeah.
Well, Leashy has a U.S. patent, I believe, or a U.S. trademark. Not patent. I think they have a U.S. trademark now. So they're supposed to be going after a lot of these online sellers that aren't in their network anymore. So your days are numbered. I'm talking to you like It's Tactical and Amazon sellers and all these fucking people that are selling green labels and shit.
I always find it funny when the Chinese want patent protection, and they're the kings of piracy. You know what I mean?
No shit.
No
Near
offense.
everything.
No offense.
That, yes, it is. It is true. It is true, but it's.
Every once in a while, they innovate and develop something of their own.
I don't care if someone duplicates a toaster. Like, it's none of my fucking business. But the more we can restrict tools to be, I mean, you can make your own leash if you want. There was a guy in, was it South America or Africa that made a leashy? Did you guys see that?
Mm-mm.
So if you remember the old tools, it was just like a track and had the little hook, and you go through the different ones. You'd push it down, and it would turn. Yeah, it was like that. It was like the old VAG or bag, whatever the fuck it was, picks. But some guy in South America made one. I saw one of the Locksmith tool groups, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's ghetto," but like, it worked. It worked for whatever those, because they don't have all the tools covered, in different parts of the world yet. But anyways, you can make them. What the fuck was I saying?
Wait, just look at the white man and assuming that Africa doesn't have access to tools. Shame on you, Chris.
I think that's more of a
The motherfucker
because
posted
there's
it
not
to
25 different
Facebook.
versions. So there's brands that are sold in South America that are not sold in the United States or China or Europe, correct? It's a very small market down there, right?
Where?
So in South Africa or Africa,
Maybe.
Africa doesn't have a lot of automotive producers. Okay. So there's tools that are needed that they don't exist down there yet.
Look what you've done. You've pissed off somebody.
Oh, my
Buddha.
God.
You do
What
What
not
happened
know
to
the
that?
way.
What happened to that Facebook group? Was it Best African Locksmith? I forget what it was.
Oh, yeah. I forget about that. Oh, shit.
So
I don't know
like,
what you're talking about, man.
it just worked for a minute and then it just disappeared. It was gone. It was like forever in our hearts. It was gone. Oh yeah, China. So yeah, it is funny that China is going out, or Mr. Lee is going after people for his trademark, and I get that. But he did kind of, change the game. I get that. But when we go after them for duplicating a lot of other stuff, no one gives a shit.
Software, key machines, and such, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Or your T-shirt design.
Yeah, that was those are Middle Easterns, by the way. I finally found out. I threatened to sue that company. I don't remember what it was called, shirt to go, whatever. So I pretty much was like, hey, we're gonna open up a lawsuit because you guys didn't do anything about this. And they said, well, here's the emails of the people that set up that account. We're just an online seller, like.
What the fuck? I don't know nothing.
I just see your hands
that.
move, Jared. So that wasn't you. Wait, let me see. So they sent me the emails, and all of them were like Muhammad Gmail and Jala Brazia, and I was like, hey, this is me. This is what we're gonna do. I need your information, and then of course nothing. So I was like, okay. But I guess imitation is a form of flattery. So I don't know.
Yeah, theft is a form of flattery.
They didn't use my direct website pictures. They stole the design, photoshopped it onto new shirts, and tried to do it that way.
I don't think I'm going to win this year's competition, if I'm being completely fucking honest. You know what I mean?
If I do my job, you're not going to. If I do my job right, you're going to be so pissed off.
I'm a little worried.
You should be.
Yeah. Well, there ain't much to talk about in the fucking world of locksmithing, except the man trying to hold us down and shit. That's about it. There's no new tools, really, that I can think of.
No, I don't think I've really seen anything coming out.
Have you done any cool jobs, Eric? I did a fucking Subaru FRS or BRZ. Right? Which one is it?
The Subaru is the BRZ.
BRZ.
Yeah.
And that's not the most interesting thing I've done lately.
I guess the 19 Jetta, as far as locksmith work, probably be the most interesting one.
All keys lost, right?
Yeah. That was the one I had to pull the cluster and pull those 8 fucking resistors off of it to solder the wire to. And then that HU 162 leashy is interesting because it's got the side cuts on it as well.
Was it easy?
It's not hard, but it's a little bit of a learning curve. So when you do the side cuts, it's got like a degree thing on there. So it's like 30, 60, 90. You got to measure it at its resting state before you pick it, write those numbers down, and then pick it, and then measure it again and write those numbers down. And then you go put it in your little calculator, and it gives you the bidding. So getting the measurements right was a little tricky, but I got it. So it wasn't,
What machine is cutting that?
I think only cut 2 blades. Was that Chris?
Does your Mini cut those degree keys for that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really weird because if you take when you take the blades, this is a Ford, but when you take the blade and we normally set it in the clamp like this, you literally just turn it on its side like that and just clamp it down like that, and then it just comes down and it hits the top and then it mills out the edge right there.
That's goofy as shit.
Cool.
I don't trust that at all.
Yeah, and so one part has there's one side has kind of like a notched shoulder and the other side doesn't, and that's how you can tell I think they call it A axis or whatever. That's the only way you can tell which axis it is. So another thing to take into consideration too, which kind of fucked with my head when I first did it, is that key's only going to turn one way. It's going to go into the door either way, but it's only going to work on one side, because one side of the 2 sides on this are cut the same, but each side of the side milling is cut different. So
So what's the
It's
benefit?
not
Is
gonna
that
work.
is this just an E key or is this an actual ignition key?
No, that was the fucking key. That was the key. Because it was a bladed ignition. Now, in the ignition, as far as I can tell, based on the fact that there is an ignition leashy for it, there's no side cuts in the ignition.
That's smart. So it doesn't get fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's, I want to say this one was, God, I don't remember. It was either 9 or 10 cuts. But there was like 2 or 3 cuts missing out of the door that are in the ignition. And I will say the ignition kicked my fucking ass. Like I tried to leashy it initially and I wasn't getting anywhere. Like 5 minutes into it, I was like, fuck this. I'll just go for the door. Like it's whole new territory, but I got to learn it anyway. So
I'm trying to think from the engineering standpoint.
I think I cut like 2 blades before I got it right.
What's the point of making it a single-sided key essentially for the door only when you have a fob that'll unlock it? But the ignition is not the side cuts. If you're trying to prevent theft, or if you're trying to prevent access, anyone with a brick can still open up the car, essentially.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's a proprietary thing. It's a new system. I don't know. That's
I don't understand the point of the side cuts.
They probably bought the technology and they're trying it out. Who knows?
It could be. I don't know. But yeah, locksmith work. That's probably the most interesting thing I've done recently. Everything else.
Let me grab something real quick. Hold on.
Pretty mediocre.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Pretty run of the mill. I did. A good friend of mine here in Virginia. He did go back to his home country for a couple weeks. So I went and took care of one of his repo lots. That was kind of cool.
Hey, hold on.
Just because it was,
check this out.
Rained on cars.
Okay. So you said side cuts, right? This is a Wink house. It's an older system, and the side cuts don't really add to the security. What they do is they add to kind of like an area genre. Like only certain people are supposed to have this, side milling. So if somebody comes from like South America with a different key, they're going to have a different side milling. If a key even goes in without the proper, kind of, I'm looking for the word. There's a word for this. You know how cars are mailed out geographically, right? Like there's only like 1,500.
They're region locked almost.
Yeah, region locked. It's kind of like that. It's key custody. Like that's kind of what it is key custody. So this could be a part of a grand master system, or whatever. User A, only maybe 2 of these could be in play right here. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah.
But, it has so many. And so
it adds an extra layer of complexity for keying.
Just a hair. I mean, even if it's not really like, if I was to pick this lock, I would just have to rake them. You know what I mean? Wherever they are, just touch them and they'll set. But the real security is in the drivers and key pins and the keyway. The keyway is even a difficult keyway. But
yeah, it looks like a pretty nasty keyway.
That's just kind of what I'm thinking about the side cuts on a Volkswagen. Is it something to do with like, we're going to mix up this key combination amongst this region. So even if the wrong person puts their key in, it might not even go in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
Here's a question.
I do remember you telling me that you tried to put an 8 cut into a 9 cut door or something like that. The leashes, that one of them, if it was not the right leashy, it wouldn't even go in.
Yeah, the wrong one won't go in, apparently, is what I keep hearing. So I'm just kind of thinking out loud. That could be kind of what's going on with that particular whatever. So it's kind of the same with like the cuts on the side of this key also are the same with that. Like they don't really have, that's not the security of the system. The magnets are, but the keys, they still, are part of it. Just, kind of an ancillary security feature.
That
and
look looks like it turns like glass.
Here's a cutaway of my favorite key, if I can get it to focus.
Damn.
That's EVA 3KS.
It's cool looking.
I'm just waiting for the days that car keys start to look like this.
How much does that retail for?
Buck ton, like $200, $300, I think.
Damn.
I'm not quite
Will
sure.
that fit like a normal UK Like
It's a
mortise assembly?
Euro profile.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, can you put that like in a normal Euro lock or Euro?
yeah, probably.
Setup?
Yeah, if it's the right measurements. I took one of these apart once, actually an EVA MCS, the magnet one, and I took it apart and put it in a padlock once. And it was a rotolock. Rotolock is a padlock that's completely circular or cylindrical. And the shackle, like there's a sleeve that rotates. So you can never grab the padlock with a huge wrench and torque it off. It'll just spin. And it's a really cool design. And I stuck, the highest security cylinder I could find, which was an EVA MCS. And it was pretty cool.
Nice.
That's pretty slick. That's
Show and
pretty
tell.
slick. I like
Oh,
Yeah.
pretty cool. That's pretty.
Yeah,
that's,
just kind of along that line. Those are German locks. So it's a German system you're talking about. So I was just kind of like connecting the dots.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What about you, Chris?
out of Boston.
Interesting job you got.
I've been getting a lot of long haul calls. So like Spokane's a pretty much an island onto itself. The next biggest city so if you come from Seattle, which is on the coast, you drive about 6 hours east, and then you hit Spokane, and then you have to drive all the way basically to Minnesota to get to another similarly large size city, whether it's Minneapolis or whatnot. So like we're pretty much by ourselves out here, which has its perks. So when I do like a long call, it's like 2.5 hours in the middle of nowhere. And I had one, we have this little town out there called not Ritzville. What the fuck was it? Was it Sprague? I think it was Sprague. Maybe it was Rosalie. Anyways, little middle of nowhere town. Lady's mom passed away a couple years ago. They had this building that needed to be secured. And it was a storefront. It was a house. It was technically a residence, but it was a storefront, like in a small little town that was like 2 city blocks. And it's bars and bistros and all this other shit. So aluminum storefront door. I'm like, okay, the thing is just fucking dirty, cobwebs everywhere. I get the thing picked open finally, and the entire building, floor to ceiling, is just covered in mold. I mean, covered. Like I'd never seen a shag carpet made out of mold attached to the ceiling. It was disgusting. Floors, it was all over the sheets, the walls, the paintings. It looked like everyone just went in there and sprayed it with black fluff and it's fucking left. It was nasty.
That sounds pretty fucking gross.
It was disgusting. Other than that, that was the only weird, crazy thing that's happened lately.
I'm gonna try and do something. Talk for about 30 seconds for me, Chris.
Okay. Also, no, now you put me on the spot. So the other stuff that's going on right now is since winter's gone, a lot more homes are being built right now. So we're getting a lot more new homeowners, which is kind of cool. So a lot up here, it's really seasonal. So winter's almost always exclusively emergency work because the weather. It just, the permafrost, you can't build. And then as soon as it starts defrosting, everything just kind of kicks into new construction, remodel work, update hardware, rentals, and all that shit. So that's kind of been the shift now, just whipping away to it.
Are you by the ocean?
No, I'm 6 hours from the ocean and about 2 hours south of Canada.
Something I've never had to deal with was like saltwater corrosion. And that's always fascinated me how like factories and shit that deal with like caustic environments have to, they have to consider the finish. Like I never really consider the finish of hardware, as unless it's decorative, but certain ones hold up different against corrosion. And I've always thought that was something that's kind of cool. Let's see here.
I have speaking of corrosion, that reminds me, I had whose number is that? At a church they have, or it's a school church thing. They have some portables. And they're like, hey, one of our locks just stopped working. So I go to go take the cylinder apart. I take it off, and it is like pure corroded rust crap garbage. I'm like, what the F is this? It's like the entire thing is just crumbling apart. And I couldn't figure out, like, what are you guys talking about? Like, this lock is dead. Like, where'd you guys get this from? Like, oh, the company that made the portables. I said, were they by the ocean? Yeah, we had to wait 3 years for it to get here. They all got built and sent over. So at some point they left those locks probably in the harbor on some boat or some yard sitting there just collecting in saltwater. And when they got over here, they sat for a couple more years, and the things just fell apart. Not so bad. So
Bear with me. I'm trying to figure out my camera. And I think I've got it. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Stage.
oh, there we go.
Alrighty. If I remove this one, I got to turn off this microphone. There we go. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you're still good.
All right. Where the fuck did I put my stuff at? Can you see it?
Oh yeah.
I can see it.
I think eventually car keys are going to be like this. Or houses.
If they even take it go. I would love to see a step towards good.
Notice this, you would think this is a great design, right?
Mm.
But look at the magnets. They chip.
Yeah, I see that. What keeps them from falling out? Are they just
I'm
like
not quite
glued
sure.
in, or?
Oh, you can see a rivet strike on the edge of the keys. So they strike the metal and pin it down.
Oh
on the
yeah,
sides.
you're right. I see it.
You can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Controlled by magnets. Pretty fucking cool.
That is pretty neat.
And this one was more of the custody control in regards to the side cuts. The security of this one is the keyway mostly.
They look so random. The side cuts. They look like somebody just fucking slashed away at your key.
Yeah.
Can you see this?
That's a nasty looking keyway.
Yeah, it is.
See how it will obstruct your pick?
Yeah. It looks like it would be hard as shit to pick.
And it's spooled.
Of course it is.
All right. I just had to show that.
Nice.
I got a car key question. Well, actually, this is two-part. So I was saying I would love to see house keys get integrated with some type of transponder technology. That'd be kind
I've
of
been saying that.
cool. Good ride. Sorry, KW1 SC1. You guys had a good ride for the last 80 years.
A
don't-
friend of mine moved into an apartment with no keys. It's just got an RFID fob.
Well, they have like the Medico with the Q link or there's those Medico keys that it almost looks like a magnet. It's like a barrel key, but it's a flat piece. Yes, the Click series. Yes. So those keys have to be recharged, is what my understanding is too. So you have to be able to power the keys to interact with the locks. Maybe it was that system. If someone knows what I'm talking about, let us know. But also, I've been told, or actually a lot of people have said, America doesn't worry about that because we got guns. You're not worried about security because you can just shoot anyone that comes in your house. That's why we have such crappy lock systems is what we deal with. Cars. Good.
I think the future is automation. Like a transponder is going to be probably your phone or something else, but it'll. Hold on, let me go turn off this phone real quick. Hear myself echoing. It'll like you could pull into your driveway, and your Wi-Fi will connect to your device and detect you, and the lights on your driveway will light up. And as you're walking up, your house will be able to detect you with proximity awareness, like doorknob detects you getting closer to it. You know what I mean? And if it's like, are you user da 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 da? It doesn't even have to need you to do anything. It'll just open. You know what I mean? So I kind of think that's where we're headed. I think in the future, houses are going to have remotes where you can like.
That may be, but it may be a long time till we see it, just because door technology is not changing anytime soon. We're still getting doors the same thickness, and that's all because ADA. That's because material. That's because architecture, the way it's built. It may happen, but it may be a generation or two before we see a change. We'll probably be gone by the time that happens.
Oh.
I'm still servicing doors from 100 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is true. That's why I don't like residential, is because they put off a problem for 15 years, and then they call you.
I love residential. I love
to
it.
solve it.
How much money do you guys typically make going out and doing a 2015, Chevy Tahoe? All keys lost.
225 without remote.
How long does that take you?
Usually
30.
250.
What does it take you? 20, 30 minutes?
Yep.
Yeah, about 20 minutes.
Yeah. I can do a house in that same amount of time. And I'm not having to worry about, oh, did they stamp the code right on the cylinder? Like, oh shit, someone's kid put a fucking branch in there and they fucked up the lock, or hey, they snapped a key off in there, or do I have the right FCC for this thing? Oh, my machine broke. And I'm not downing automotive. It's definitely a higher skill level and more involved. But if you're fast at residential, I can do 5 locks in 20 minutes.
I think they're equivalent skill levels. Like, because the customer's going to be like, fuck, my door doesn't close right. And you're going to be like, what does that have to do with the lock? And, door sagging, correct the hinge for an extra whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's equivalent.
So a die grinder fixes a lot of issues. Like if you have a deadbolt that doesn't quite line up because they put new weather stripping on, die grinder, a battery powered die grinder, you shave off 1/32 of an inch, closes like butter. You're not worrying about to repress everything to the frame. It's nice. I was talking about cars. So next year, 2025, what percentage of cars do we think are going to be push start?
All of them?
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be all of them.
I think commercial is going to be obviously more right now, right? I mean, commercial vehicles. Yeah, I think that's a fair number. Do you think that lowers the entry level for skill if it's just a plug and play situation for remotes?
Yeah, I mean, especially if you get you get programmers like, that'll do them. Yeah.
I don't know. Because, like
a lot of times, like brand new cars, brand new systems come out. I mean, not always, but, we're seeing, I think, like more and more lately, they're developing like more and more new systems where, a system is only good for a couple of years. Like 2020 to 2022 is a different system. And then 23, they got a different system. And then 24 is a different system. And then, you know what I mean? So who knows? Maybe they come out with something different in 25.
I see that too, because I don't do new cars, so I don't know what the systems are going to take for right now. All I know is like once you hit about 2019, it all comes kind of like a mystery. Like, oh, this pin code system works for these vehicles, but not these vehicles in this series. And next year they changed it again. So yeah, it's really weird. There's not like a clear, like we had H92 system ran for like what, fucking 20 years almost. I mean, they didn't change a whole lot.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah,
it's an interesting time, I think, because I think it's harder to become an entry level locksmith. Like right now, you have universal remotes, so everybody buys them, thinking they're easy, but they get to the car and it doesn't program properly. You know what I mean? Or they get to the car and it's got the new system that they're not aware of. I don't know. I don't know. It's like they're back in the day they produced like 5 books on the subject and they were all fucking good. They were all peer reviewed. Now everybody's research is whatever anybody says, and so they go online and they're like, well, I'm stuck. What's the answer? Some random asshole gives the wrong answer and they take it for advice. I don't know. I think it might be more challenging.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And then like there's so much on Facebook and that's just misinformation out there. Somebody's like, hey, how do I do this? And then you've got 35 comments. One of them has any fucking valid truth to it.
So I'm going to say something that might be controversial here. And maybe you guys aren't on the internet as much as I am, but I'll be scrolling through Instagram and TikTok and stuff. And it'll be like so-and-so locksmith. And it shows them with the bent-ass long reach bar breaking into someone's 97 Saturn. And it's like, this is my locksmith job, and they're like, talking about how they're so good at their shit, and they got 300,000 people following them, and it's just them breaking into shitty cars with shitty tools, and for some reason it gets under my skin. I don't know why, but it gets under my skin. Like that's the only thing the public sees is what we do, which is use long reach tools to push buttons.
There's some other guy like posts a bunch of fucking videos of himself like using a leashy and stuff and opening people's doors and this, that, and the other. And I don't know. Like I can't get into the whole internet personality thing. Yeah, I don't have my own fucking or whatever that shit is, TikTok or any of that bullshit.
Lock porn, that's what it is, a lock porn.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's kind of like, who gives a fuck? Really? Like, some people find it somewhat interesting, but really, like, who the fuck cares? Here's 100 videos of me using a shitty laundry because I can't leashy a car. Okay.
Yeah. I've made comments like be a man, bro, and go get some leashies. Like, you got to buy them from me. I'm like, oh my God. But then people ask, like customers probably ask you guys too, like, oh, what do you guys think of the lock picking lawyer? And it's like,
Jesus Christ, every fucking day.
It's not to say that he's not.
You're like a lock picking lawyer. I'm not like a lock picking lawyer. I'm out here and I'm opening a fucking car in the rain.
I'm not going to sit in my garage for 2 days making this look good and then bring it back to you. Like, I have to do the job right here, right now, with the tools I got and the information I have. I have to make it work, and I have to do it in a way that makes you happy, and I get paid to do it. That's definitely not how that works.
Right.
Have you got
from him? Like, the guy's good at picking locks, but he practices a lot. Anybody, if you're either good, you get good, or you give up. You know what I mean? So he obviously practices to get good, So that's cool.
Have you guys got the Skyrim comparison?
Mm-hmm. What? Yeah.
The Skyrim comparison? Like, oh, it's just like in Skyrim.
Or Fallout. Fallout has it too.
Oh, I don't know what it is. Like, I've never played Skyrim, but I've heard it 100 times. Like I'm picking it, and they're like, that's just like Skyrim. I tried that, but I'm not good. I'm like, okay. I don't even know how you pick a lock in Skyrim.
Skyrim has the system where you have to like rotate it on a 360-degree portion, and you set it, and then you try turning it. If your controller shakes a certain way, and it's like that means it's too tight, so you change it to like be a different degree, and then you turn it, and all of a sudden it clicks open. So you are technically feeling the lock because most controllers nowadays have rumble in them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like a literal, like a clock face. You're just kind of turning it till you get the right portion, and then once you think you have it, you push the button over. Either it clicks it over, or it resists, and the controller rumbles. And you say, oh, the less it resists, the closer you are to the right position, like a real lock sometimes. And once you get to the right position, whether it's 245 or 915 or wherever the position is, then when you go to unlock it, it actually unlocks. And if you don't do it right, if you push it too hard, your lockpick breaks and it consumes a lockpick out of your inventory. That's your Skyrim lockpicking.
That kind of sounds like you're picking a Tibby key.
Yeah, if the Tibby key is on a chest full of dragon meat and coins and
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Beans and rice. Moses, smell the roses. Jesus,
I've never heard that.
Moses, smell the roses.
Beans and rice. Moses, smell the roses.
I just learned a new one that was from one of my southern friends. Hotter than two rats fucking in a wool sock.
Working harder than a cucumber in a women's prison. That's one I heard lately.
That is not lost on me. I get that.
I like that one.
Yeah, some guy. It was like a NASCAR race or some shit, and it was the commentator. He's like, "Boy, I tell you, he's working harder than a cucumber in a woman's prison." And the other guy was just like, "Oh shit," radio silence. It was funny.
That's weird. Well, I'll tell you what, though, I'm
the mental image. The mental image of that, just a cucumber being passed underneath the picnic tables of a prison.
I'm excited for September. I'm excited to get started on this stuff. It's gonna be really fun. I'm really excited. Hopefully, we got Packlock that's gonna be doing some sponsorship. That'll be nice. So Packlock will be there. All your normal folks will be there. So your UHSs, I think American Lock and Key or Southern Lock will be there. God, who was there all last year? There was the normal run people. Some of the locals. There's some local companies there. I think Rural Lock and Key is one of them.
I think like the Northwest Texas Locksmith or whatever association or something was also there. What are you a part of in Texas?
Texas.
In Washington, the NWA.
Oh, we have I'm in NWA. That's right. I'm in the NWLA, the Northwest Locksmith Association, which has been around. I wish I had a patch I'd show you. In fact, hold that thought. I'll be right back.
I thought he was a part of the NWA. My bad.
That definitely sounds cooler.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Hell yeah. That would have been cool. I'd just drop the L and tell everybody I am anyway.
Yeah.
Just cross that L off your patch.
Okay. Hey, Chris.
Oh, that looks cool.
put your finger over the L. Dude, fuck that dog. That's all I got to say.
Dog is the bane of my existence. Oh. I don't think that's going to work, dog.
The NWA.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool fucking logo.
It is
big. It's like it's a big fucking patch right there. So they've been around for a minute. They have made in Taiwan. They have, in fact, Dave McGomey, which is up here at the beginning of April for a safe class. They held up, but I think IML was teaching it. Maybe it was a banner, I don't remember, but they had a class up here. We had Mike Hennessy from American Key Supply was up here, and all the normal ones. So yeah, they've been around for a minute. Good stuff.
Right.
I'm trying desperately to remember that third dude's fucking name. The certified fucking leashy guy.
Is it on their website?
Chris. His name is Chris. That's all I got. There's too many fucking Chris's.
Yeah.
Following class leashy.
We seem to all know like
that is
somebody with like the most common name that's too many. Like I know too many people named Dave.
I dated a girl in junior high named Caitlin Smith, and it was like the most generic last name, and I never noticed it. But at graduation, there's like 15 Smiths, at our school, and I was like, fuck,
Yeah. I've never had to worry about that with my last name.
No.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you a story, and then I gotta get out of here. But I think you'll enjoy this. So when I used to own that tattoo shop here in town, this young man comes in, and he's talking about how he started dating this girl he met on the reservation, native kid. If you're not familiar with it, we have Native American reservations up here. They're pretty common. It's a huge giant chunk of land, lots of casinos, lots of good to be had. This guy's talking about he's dating this girl who he thinks is his cousin, so they keep dating. So we're like trying to figure out like how this whole family tree thing works, and the way he's explaining it, he draws it out, and the family tree literally goes up like notches, and it comes back down and around. I'm like, look, bro, if your family tree reconnects at any point, that is not good. And I've thought about that all the time. Anytime I think about the reservation, I always think about this kid banging his own cousin and knowing it and then still not caring.
What a what the fuck?
Always get a tattoo done. But yeah, so
you just dropped an incestuous bomb on us for no fucking reason. Like that's friendly fire, Chris. What the fuck?
That's going up here in the Northwest, but also what else was I gonna say?
I knew these people once. They were fucking right, and it turns out that they were intensely related to each other.
Well, no.
And
The story
no
is
matter
bad
how
because
much they knew about it, they wouldn't stop.
once they figured out they're related, it didn't stop, and that was like the that was a room went silent kind of
Once
thing.
they found out it was like for real, it was on. Couldn't pull them off each other.
we were so sorry, I'm looking at my eBay bids because I do that now. Yeah, that was horrible.
Why do you always dress like you're going fishing? Jesus.
Because the weather up here can be cold. It can be like overnight low of like, I don't know, 30 degrees, and then daytime high of 60, 70. So if I'm doing jobs throughout the day, it could be hot, it could be cold, it could be rainy, it could be anything. So the vest is perfect. It's not heavy enough where it's cumbersome when it's hot, and it's not gonna, leave you freezing if it's cold. Pockets everywhere. You can mix and match it.
Every time I see you at the airport, it's just like, there he is. Flannel shirt, fucking vest with a hat, and a little waddle.
Little waddle.
There's Chris. A little waddle. There's my dude. Well, fucker.
We all can't be giraffes like you. I'm sorry.
I know, right? Yeah. They used to make fun of me in school, like those African people that put the rings around their neck. I can't remember the tribe. You never.
They stretch their necks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they used to call me a long neck motherfucker in school. Yeah. And turtle. Said I look like a turtle.
We can get some. What was that taco place called? There in Pflugerville? Torchies. Torchies.
That place is fucking
Torchies. That place is.
So, what's your opinion on the whole Israel-Palestine?
Me personally?
I'm kidding. I'm fucking kidding.
I don't know. I think part of it's bad because Israel didn't technically exist until like the British gave it to them. But I don't know. Everyone fucked up on that one. Someone dropped the ball. That's like when you go to the airport and you get on a plane and like, well, technically this is someone we oversold the seat. They oversold the land basically. And now you got two countries trying to exist in one space with two very different cultures, and it's fucked up.
So what you're saying is Israel shouldn't exist.
What I'm saying is that
I'm saying that they should be getting our fucking money. That's all I care about.
yes, that is the bottom line. I don't care what goes on over there because I don't live there, and that has nothing to do with what I'm doing in my own country. And they want to sort it out themselves. They should.
I'm wondering what $30 billion of my tax money buys me when it comes to Israel.
Have you seen that meme with the?
Where is my investment going? You know what I mean?
It's not. It's not. It's being shot up into the air, exploded. That's where your
Same with
investment's going.
fucking,
From both sides, by the way.
Same with Ukraine.
Yeah.
That's why I don't get why people are so for government oversight with the programmers. Like, oh, hey, yeah, the government's going to solve the problem with the scammers. Ah, yeah, they solve many fucking problems, don't they? No,
it's not. It's not. The government doesn't. The problem isn't people getting tools they shouldn't be getting. The problem is people claiming they're locksmiths on Google and advertising above everyone. That's the problem. No one's clicking on the Facebook ads. Oh man, I'm locked out of my house. Let's click on this Facebook ad that's sandwiched between hair products and fucking used car lots. No one's doing that. They're going to Google. They're going to Yahoo. Mostly Google. They're clicking on the fucking ad. They're getting scammed. They're sending out some.
Yeah, I saw
96
my page on Google is like 8 below fucking key me and minute key. There's like key me, minute key, minute key, Fredericksburg keys. I was like, oh fuck me.
I did an insurance job yesterday for I don't know if you guys have Honk, but it's like
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Honk is a third-party insurance company. So basically, you sign up with them, they send you work to go unlock cars, basically, and they pay you. At least in my area, they pay between $30 to $70. And if you want the job, you just click on the app. It's kind of like Uber, but not really. But it's just insurance. It's insurance money. Insurance money is never there, unless it's a little key make sometimes. But so this call comes through for a 2012 Ford Fusion. I'm like, oh, I'm busy. I can't take it. Reject. 2 hours later, hey, this person's locked out. You want it? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. How much do you want to? Do you want to do it for your? Because you can set up your pricing too. So you say, hey, I charge 60. That's what I charge for every car lockout for you guys. I take them when I want, whatever. So I said, yeah, I'll take it for my normal rate. They said, okay, we'll get back to you. Oh, you're not selected. We found someone else. Okay, no problem. 2 hours later, finally, they say, okay, we'll accept that your offer, your rate. So they send me the information. The guy's here in town. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go and lock his car. He's like, oh, thanks for showing me. I've been waiting all day for my insurance to send someone. That's pretty normal, right? If you've ever worked with insurance companies, they don't do anything quickly. So I said, oh, that sucks. Yeah, I saw your call coming in all day. He says, I called Kimi, and they wanted $180 to unlock my car. And I said, that's a lot, because I'm not sure what you guys have in your areas, but in my market, a car unlock goes between 75 to 100 tops. And that's daytime hours, 1 hour service tops, pretty normal stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, Kimi's charging double the market rate. I think they're getting a little bit big for their britches, because that's crazy that people would even pay that. And then the person that goes out makes, $60 off of that. It's kind of interesting.
I'm cool with it because in my area they charge 150 or 159, so I know that, and they don't ever send anybody out, so the people are waiting like 3 hours for somebody to not show up.
Mm-hmm.
Then they call me, and I'm $100, $125. They're like, "Are you in Colombia?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fucking."
You know that when that's the first question they ask you when they call, something's up.
Yeah, I'm like 9 minutes away from you, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, please, yeah, go, yeah, come. And so, honestly, I was charging like $65 for lockouts, and people were complaining. Lately, I've kicked it up to 100 minimum, and I think I'm faring better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how that works. I used to charge like 75 during the day, and I got to the point where I'm busy, so now I just tell everybody like $125 no matter what. Yep. And I somehow seem to keep landing them all. I try to price myself out, and I'm like 125. They're like, fucking great, come on, man. I know like 10 people in town that'll do it for like $50 right now.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
I'm trying to price myself out of doing it.
I try to wiggle away from that
anyways. Want to do it.
Well, I tell them after that conversation happens, I say, okay, cool. I need your card number before I go out, just because I don't want to get stiffed. Yeah, sure. Here's my card number. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. I went to lockout last night for like 185 just to go and lock in a KW1, this apartment, 10 minutes away. I'm just like, who the fuck is? Like, yes, I'm thankful as a business owner that they said yes, but at the same time, it's like I didn't want to do that job. And yeah, the higher you charge, it's never an issue with the quality of the service. It's an issue with the price. That's what it comes down to for black people.
I found too that you won't get the people either they'll pay you or they won't, but they generally won't leave you a shit review if you're just upfront about the fucking price.
I told this story to Jared a couple days ago. So I had this kid call me he got a hold of me like 2018, 2019. He was locked out. I'll just say he was a pretty wealthy kid. He had like 100 by 100 foot shop just full of arcade games. His mom's house was like 5,000 square feet. It was just some spoiled, rotten, young person. So he had a couple pinball machines.
You sound so jealous.
I am. That was a pretty cool setup, but I opened a couple cam locks basically. I'm like, I'm like, cool. Yeah. I think I charged him like $60. Again, 2018, 2019. He calls me on Tuesdays this week and he says, hey, I need you to unlock my house. If you remember me, I'm like, yes, I remember you. I'll be out there 25 minutes. Okay, cool. I get there. I unlock his SC1 lever, and I think I charged him $100. And he was so upset. And he leaves me this horrible review. And I'm like, what the fuck? He's complaining that I charged him way too much than I did before. And I'm like, at first I was angry, but now I'm realizing this kid is so distant from what things should cost because he's probably spoiled. He doesn't understand that like prices have gone up in the last 6-7 years for services, and that's actually on the cheaper end for an emergency service at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I was a little chapped about it.
That's how I would have responded to his review. I'd have been like, this out of touch kid, who is funded by mommy and daddy.
His mom had died. He was forced to sell the house. So he's about to be, yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, you're about to get a, $1.5 million house on the market. You can shut the fuck up. So,
Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But yeah, I find that if you, a lot of the times people are bitching is when you're like, yeah, it's, $50 for the service call. And then you just show up to it. It's like, oh yeah, now you owe me 125 because, it's 55 or, 75 for the actual unlock, but 50 for the service call. That's when I find people tend to bitch. I don't do that. I've never have. I've always tried to give somebody an out the door price. And if it's something I can't give them a fucking price on because I need to see it to see what's going on, I can give them at least a range. Look, it'll be
question.
A minimum of this much or a maximum of this much.
All right, so you're called out to unlock a car, right? 2015 Chevy Tahoe. And it's what Chris said earlier. You get there, you unlock it, right? You tell them it's $75, right, to unlock their Tahoe. Okay? You get there, you unlock it. No key. Now they need you to make a key. Do you charge them 75 plus your all keys lost because it wasn't already agreed upon? Or do you just roll the 75 into what you would normally charge for an all keys lost?
I will generally, if they're going to pay me my full, not sit there, bitch, and argue, I will just roll it in. So I would charge $250 for just a key in that instance, as long as it's not some like off the wall emergency fuck. Well, I wouldn't be say daytime, right? I would charge them $250, and I'd say, look, I'll roll it'll be $250 for me to make a key. I'll roll the 75 into that cost, so you'll owe me the difference.
Right. Well, you have to have the car anyways.
You owe me $75 for opening the door, and I'll go the fuck home, and you call someone else to make the key.
Exactly. Which rarely has ever happened.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm with you on that.
Happens, but
the demeanor of the customer plays a big part. If they're an asshole and they're like, well, it's just going to cost me like, now it is because you talk to me like that. But yeah,
yeah, exactly.
if they're like,
let me ask this, because this happened to me literally. 2015 Tahoe, you got to unlock it. 75 to unlock it, right? No key found. So they say, go ahead, start making the key. And I tell them it's going to be 150 additional, so it's my 225. Okay, total.
Mm-hmm.
We're rolling it together like you guys. They find the key before I cut the key, but I've already worked on the door, run a fill, and everything else, right? But now they still want my key, even though they found their key. What do you do?
I charge them same fucking price.
Same price? You don't do a spare key price? You still stick with
no,
because
you didn't do a spare key. You didn't do a spare key service.
Technique. You haven't cut the key yet.
But have you popped the ignition and got the code?
No.
What have you done? Just
you went to the door, and you got your 6 through 10 or whatever it is, and then you filled it in 1 and 2. So you're missing 2 spots. That's as far as you've gotten.
That's a call you make based on the customer.
Yeah.
I've had that.
That's literally what happened to me the other day. So I charged her 75 for the unlock and 100 for the key because I didn't have a shell, so I couldn't clone it. So I had to sit for the 10 and a half minutes or whatnot. But
case by case.
I think in that instance, like you said, the unlock, charge them, and then charge for a spare key.
It was a clusterfuck. It really was, because like she was like, "Oh fuck, its key's not in here," and I was like, I wonder where it's at. So one of the nurses ran inside and was like, she said, "What if it's in the trash?" And I thought, there's no fucking way. I'm gonna have to make him a key. And so I was like, "Do you want me to make a key?" She's like, "You're gonna have to make a key." So I started making a key, and next thing you know, the nurse comes running out. It was in the trash. I was like, "What the actual?"
So there's two. So the guy earlier that mentioned he was new locksmith, new
Locksmith.
There's 2 things I can tell you as someone that's done some automotive, but not as much as you guys. And this is just purely from the business practices, not the technical skill level required of it for hiring vehicles. And that is always get paid. Sorry, this isn't one. Always get paid in advance. When you get there and you start doing anything, you get paid first, unless there's a situation where, hey, my friend's paying for the phone, my mom's paying for it, there's a car. If you can, get paid up front. 2, paperwork. whether it's just a release of liability, whether it's a receipt that says, hey, you're not going to screw me over, the car bricks, whatever the situation is, never trust a customer. That is correct. Never, ever, ever trust a customer. I've learned that the hard way too many times. Oh, yeah, my friend swapped the computer out from the car that he got the auto show or whatever, or the auction. Or, oh, yeah, well, you know, I don't remember if I had 2 keys you get in there and the ignition's been drilled out and you're like, I can't do anything with this. Well, I just drove an hour over here to help you, so you're paying me something. Oh, too bad. They don't want to pay you. Always get paid up front if you can. Customers in automotive are the fucking worst.
How do you handle refunds? So like, I don't, all right. So, okay. All right. So I'm a little superstitious. I don't like to get paid in advance because I feel like it's a jinx. Okay. And also if they pay me with a credit card, I've learned that the refund can take 3 days, and that utterly pisses off my people.
So
locally.
What do you use for your payment processor? Square. So if you have the Square tap or the Square little thing for your cards, it should be shaped about the size of a cracker, right? Bluetooth to your phone. If
the fuck did you call me?
Fuck up.
Oh, my bad.
If you tap their card to process it, they technically cannot dispute it. They can't say, I didn't approve this charge. Well, you did because you physically had your card present there. The only way they can go after that charge is if they take you to court and get it reversed. Square will not side with them if the card is present and it's physically been processed, because the only claim that they allow them to make with their card processor is my card was stolen, and in that case it's under an insurance policy with Square, or B, they didn't authorize the charge and you're a scammer. Well, they can't say that the card was stolen if it was present. You are there, you signed for it, whatever the card was tapped, it is physically there. They'll have your back. So
what card processor do you use primarily?
I use Square also. That's all I use. Okay. And I found that out the hard way because I've had people I've made keys for, and then 2 days later I get a charge back from Square, and I'm like, look, here's the documentation, here's the phone call, here's their ID, here's a picture of the car, here's me holding my card, and
they don't give a fuck.
They say they said that they weren't there because guess what? You keyed in that card. You swiped it with a mag stripe. You can emulate cards with mag stripes easily. You cannot emulate a tap. Well, you technically can, but you shouldn't be able to emulate a tap. And so Square sees that as the most secure way to process that card. So the reason I say process or get paid first, not because you're like, hey, I'm going to be, getting the money. Cool. You hold the power. So let's say you do the card and you run into a situation where like, oh, they found their keys. I'm on the last 2 minutes of my B111 reset. Too bad, it's done. And they can't just say, well, F you and drive off. They could technically, but at the same time, you're already paid. So if something needs to be changed, you can refund it at your discretion, whatever the situation is. You have the power to control that transaction.
So Chris is right, especially if you deal a lot with the general public. I know a friend of mine in town, he's gotten screwed twice by people because he's just generally a nice fucking guy. And, one lady said, oh, I got to get the money out of the ATM. And he followed her to the bank, and she just drove the fuck off with her new key and everything. So, that's happened to him a couple times, stuff like that. Or he'll show up in the middle of the night for a lockout, and they're like, sorry, guy, I'm out of here. And, it is. It's like,
police aren't doing anything nowadays. They're not going to have his back. And also your gut. I don't mind losing out on a $75 lockout. I'm okay if I'm not okay, but I can live if I can burn on a $75 lockout. But if I gave up 2 calls to drive out to someone's house and make a key for their 2006 Ford Explorer, and they don't tell me that the computer's been swapped, it's not their car, it's been stolen 1,000 times, and it's, there's no battery, and I'm going to be there for an hour trying to get this thing to even read a freaking through the port, and of course the OBD port doesn't have any power. If I have the power to have all those things be issued, not all the power, but if I have the power to have the money already in my business's possession, when I say, look, I've been here for an hour, your OBD port's not reading, your battery's undercharged, your keys have been swapped on the ignition, this thing is so full of gunk, and your homie tried to do something with a screwdriver or something. Here's the deal. I've been here for an hour. I'm going to refund this if I choose to, whatever the situation is. You already signed the paperwork. You're going to be paying me. You're releasing my authorization here. You're going to get paid.
Can I ask you a question? Do you ever get into situations where you feel like you could get killed if you try to charge somebody? Like, I went to a garage that was like a meth, you know what I'm saying? It looked methy, really, really methy. And programming was a failure because the dude tried to take one car and marry it into another car. And I was like, if I try to charge this motherfucker, I'm in the middle of nowhere, you know, and he could, I don't know, beat me to death with a hammer and nobody would know. Do you ever get in those situations?
Not a lot. There's some sketchy people, but also you have to really know how to read the situation. I don't leave my van in a place, or at least far away enough from where I'm working that I can't see it. I always lock it behind me. You know, I make sure that I'm well advertised of who I am. So it's not like there's a random car and someone rolls up and shoots you. There's obviously a service vehicle there. There's a paper trail. So if anyone tries to rob you or hurt you, they gotta realize they've already paid you with a card. They already gave you their phone number. Your phone has GPS. Like it's risky to do that, obviously, but no, not really. Maybe it's just because of where I'm at and the culture up here, but we don't see enough of that up here.
Right,
Do you
Eric,
carry
yep.
to work?
Do
you carry to work?
I used to a lot. I used to have my concealed carry, and I thought it's going to really be necessary, but I've never had to draw it once, never needed it once, and so I just don't do it anymore.
I've never had to draw or needed it, but I still don't leave the house without it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
I carry 2 guns.
usually also, being covered, in a ton of tattoos usually sends people a message, and for some reason it works. So I don't stop, letting that message get out. But no, I haven't had anyone trying to intimidate me or be crazy about things. I've had people argue about stupid stuff, but not never been threatened.
Yeah, I've never been threatened either. I've had people like throw temper tantrums and scream and cuss and yell, but it is what it
That's
is.
what I'm saying. If you have their money and you're clear about what's going to happen and the way it's going to happen and when you're going to be there, you show up, you did the job, you got paid the right amount of money you said you're going to get paid, and you were clear with everything, and you have a legal document that says this person, this time, this date, this car, whatever the situation is. If they want to be a dick, you walk away. Oh no, actually no. Here's a good example. I had a 2003 Honda Odyssey, and I could just tell this lady was one of those people that just recently. Jeez.
Fucking Wild West out there in Texas, boy.
Yes, so. Lady had a 2003 Odyssey, and she's like, "Yeah, I called insurance. They didn't send anyone. Can you make a key for this thing?" I'm like, "Okay." I always ask, did the vehicle have one key that operated the door and the ignition? It's always, most of the times, it's yes. It's
the vest asserts dominance, 100%.
That's right. Let me call her up there. So whenever someone calls for car keys, I'm always pretty specific. Is there one key that operates the entire vehicle, or was there one key that operates the entire vehicle? Is there anything aftermarket on the vehicle? Is there anything I need to know about the vehicle? Has it been recently serviced? So those are my 3 primary questions. And if those 3 are clear and there's no issues, and yeah, okay, address, yada, yada, let's go. So I get there and I look at this car. I'm like, okay, this car's on bricks. It's in this alleyway behind this person's house. It's in a bad part of town. I'm like, okay, whatever. She says, well, we're getting evicted in a couple days and we need to get this car keys to it so we can at least get it towed or moving. We got to put tires on. I'm like, okay. First, let's check for battery. Okay, cool. Let's check for OBD. Okay, cool. So I go to pull the ignition lock, or not ignition. I go to pull the glove box lock, and I'm like, okay, this thing's been the entire glove box is gone. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, do I want to leash this thing? This car is pretty much full of garbage, and it's moldy and mildewy. I'm like, I don't want to be in this car. So I'm like, look, here's the deal. I'm gonna run this bin. I'm like doing it, but these are one of those situations. Honda's cheap. I got stuff to do. This lady's crazy. I want to get in and out. I said, how positive are we that the locks have not been changed on this car? So I swear up and down, this car's ignition has not been changed. It looks like it hasn't been changed. Okay, cool. Doors, I could have probably taken apart, but I was in a rush. It was getting late, and this lady was already getting a discount because she begged up and down. I'm like, okay, cool. She's already paid. Everything's good to go. Run the VIN. Guess what? Key doesn't work in the door or the ignition. I said, well, here's the problem. It works in the passenger door. I think it worked on some part of the car that wasn't the ignition and wasn't the driver's door. Maybe it was the back. I don't remember. It worked on some part of the car that wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And she says, well, I think my friend did something to it. I'm like, well, what do you mean your friend did something to it? Like, oh yeah, he tried to fix it a couple months ago to get the ignition going. So either way, the whole thing came down to is I couldn't service her vehicle because she wasn't forward with me. And the thing was a heaping pile of garbage and dog shit. So at that point, it's like, well, you're paid up for the full amount. So I'm going to go ahead and refund most of this because A, I don't want you to, go crazy. But B, when you have that kind of power, you still have the ability to say, look, I can just walk away with everything because you paid me to make a key. I made a key. I made a key. That's it. That's what you wanted, right? I made a key.
I made a key from the VIN.
Yeah. But you don't know what's going on because you've probably been, high off your ass for the last 20 years. So having control of that situation, and it makes a big difference, especially when you have people involved that aren't quite stable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to that, you're saying you get to the Ford Explorer and the battery's dead or whatever.
Yeah.
That's if you're a new guy, expect that at every fucking all keys lost job you go to. The car batteries are always dead.
I did that
charge people. I've gotten to the point I literally charge people an extra $25 if I have to hook my jump box up. And I tell them that shit up front. I'm like, if I have to hook up my jump box, it's $25 extra.
Before Eric was charging people, he'd go to a car dealership and they would make an appointment like 3 days in advance. They'd call him on Friday afternoon, beg him to come Friday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'll be there Monday. He'll get there Monday and there won't even be a fucking battery in the car.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that happens so much to you. And it's because he services all these car dealerships. And
yep.
They do not care. So $25 every time, and it adds up.
When I stopped servicing buy here, pay here lots because of that reason. They say, hey, we got a 2014 or 2010 GMC Savannah we just bought. We need you to go out there and make a key for it. We got it from auction. So I have to drive out to Airway Heights, which is over by Fairchild Air Force Base outside of town. So I drive out to the DAA auto auction place, and I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. The dealership's gonna, the car lot's gonna pay it. I get there, no battery, no cluster, no nothing. I'm like, what am I supposed to fucking do here? And I called them. Oh yeah, the cluster's in a different car that was at the junkyard. Oh, the battery, we'll bring one out next time. Can you bring a battery with you? I'm like, no, that's not my job. Okay, well, so I cancel the job. And I'm like, okay, I'll come back tomorrow. I get back out there, no battery, no cluster. Oh, yeah. Well, can you make a fob too? I'm like, are you people freaking high? Like, I don't know. So I empathize with you. The car lots can either be good money makers, like, hey, I'm making spares for them a couple times a week, whatever. It's easy, it's a few bucks here and there. Or it's the people that just don't care. They give zero shits about you.
I have a couple of car lots where they pretty much every car they buy from the auction just has a plain transponder key, and they like for their customers to have a remote. So I make a lot of spares for them, but generally, most of it's just scumbags that want the cheapest fucking key possible, and
they also want it right now. It's not hey,
they want it right now. They got it from the auction. So half time they like, can you go to the auction and make it before I even go pick up the car? So yeah, sometimes I go out there and do it, but
I don't know.
That's the other thing too. You never know. Like when you go into the auction, you have no fucking idea what you're about to walk into. Because they never fucking tell you. Half time they don't know. I show up to a Mercedes and it's smashed so hard in the front end, you can't get the hood open. The battery's completely fucking dead. And I'm like, what do you want me to do with this?
Yeah.
Of course, I pull the ignition and make a fucking key on the bench.
Just throw on the seat and walk away.
I'm like, hey, does it start? I don't fucking know. It turns the ignition, so we're good, bro.
When I did work with Kimi, I worked for them for about 4 months, and they sent me by, I don't know, a couple. This is 2022. They sent me a couple car key jobs, and their direct language said, turn key ignition. I said, what about programming? They said, oh, no, just you're fitting a key for the ignition. I said, okay, but you'll understand like what we're talking about here. Unlocks is one thing. I get that. But if you're paying me $85 to make a key for a car and you're telling me I'm not required to program it because no one can give me any clarification on that. No one in the entire organization was a locksmith. They're all just call centers. So I said, there's some vehicles that require EEPROM. There's some vehicles, like let's say you got a 2007 Pacifica, Oh, they need a key made for it. I'm not going to be able to OBD that thing. You have vehicles that sometimes do really well, or sometimes do good with OEM keys. Some newer vehicles, some of the aftermarket stuff just does not work on certain cars. Who eats that cost? If I have to have 2 keys for a Ford, do you guys pay me more? They just couldn't answer anything. They couldn't give me a single answer. So I'd literally go out to this car. Oh, you have a 2015 Ford F-150. Here's your H75. Have a good day. Well, I also need a remote. Well, that's not what I was paid to do. I also need this car doesn't start. That's not what I was paid to do. And people will get so frustrated that they paid Kimi $400 and they told me I'm not required to program a key or make a transponder. Just had to make a metal key for the ignition to turn.
I drove 35 miles on a Kimi call it was like a 2002 Impala or Malibu, something like that. Non-transponder, in-dash ignition. And I knew my route. I was like, it's going to be so fucking fast. And so I drove all the way to another city to do this job. And as soon as I pulled in to the driveway, the lady was on a ladder hanging like decorations up on her house. Her car was right there in the driveway. I pulled into her driveway and she like turned around and was like, rah, 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 rah. And I was like, huh? Rolled my window down, stuck my head out. She was like, the key better have a remote. And I was like, no, it's for a key only. Because we talked about that on the phone. And like the invoice said key only. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, you might as well not even do it because I ain't paying you. And I was like, what the actual fuck do I do now? Because she's telling me to get off her property. Mm-hmm. I didn't even touch the car. And they want to pay me with like a prepaid card or whatever it is, that number.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got to call them after I do the job. You know what I mean? And so when I told them
GOA charge.
Yeah. And so when I told them what happened, they were cool about it, but it was still kind of a weird situation. I told the lady to go fuck herself. You know what I mean? I drove all that way for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't want your car. You know what I mean? You don't want your car. I'm not giving you a fucking remote. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Aloha had Greg Marsh as a member, and I think it was Greg Marsh. Yeah, I think it was him. He was the CEO of Kimi, and I said, "This is horseshit." So I had to like do a big old 7-page essay about why Kimi is screwing up my area, and they have like I think they had like 200 listings in the Seattle area. I'm not in Seattle. Seattle's like definitely not my market, but just that was the best option I could show. I'm like, how does any legitimate business have 200 listings, not a single person's at them in one city? And they just didn't. They just couldn't do it.
And every time you call those numbers, it sends you out of state probably to a call.
Oh yeah, every single time. And the thing that really boiled my egg there was that
he's like, shut the fuck up.
Anytime you called for a car key in a major city, they sent you to 24-hour Locksmith Direct or directory. Which, by the way, Locksmith Directory is now owned by who the hell? They do. It's one of those like Angie's List kind of businesses. What's it called? They are owned by. E-Local. They're owned by E-Local. So if you don't do any of your own SEO, E-Local is like one of these places where you list your business's information, so that way you can get better SEO rankings. So you enter all your information, your service areas. No one uses it, but E-Local has purchased Locksmith Directory now, and it's their parent company. So when you call Kimi for a car key, they either send it to one or two places. Pop-A-Lock in my area now, or if you're in a big enough city with no one representing them, they send the car keys and other really big stuff to Locksmith Directory under E-Local, which is really weird.
These humongous companies are like vying for control of the locksmith industry. Like, are they also doing it for like plumbers and shit? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
If not, like, why is the locksmith industry under attack from like fucking monopolies and shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is really weird.
All these companies are trying to get their foot in the door, but they don't have any technicians, which is
like the car key market is all swallowed up by one fucking group, and all the advertising online for locksmiths is being controlled by one group. the programmers are trying to be controlled by one group. And it's like, what the fuck is going on, man?
Yeah, if you search for like plumbers near me on Facebook, or not Facebook, but Google, or electrician near me on Google, I don't get 10 million fucking call centers. You know what I mean?
There's
Or
way more plumbers in my town.
automated fucking bullshit. Like, I mean, there's a lot of plumbers, sure,
Yeah.
but they're actual legit businesses.
The thing is, though, they don't require the same legitimacy as locksmithing does not require the same legitimacy in most states as electricians. There's no IBEW for locksmiths. You know, no one's going to go to their union boss because a scammer showed up to a lockout. It's not going to happen. They just don't give us the cred we need because our jobs are so quick and easy for the most part. We're not going to spend 3 weeks on a job site with a crew. It's a we're in, we're out kind of situation.
Well, it depends on what you do, though. Because
Exactly.
the guy who runs the school in Virginia where I went to take my classes to get my license here, he did a lot of those real big jobs. He all up and down the East Coast. He did the Walmart security systems, which all require locksmith licenses. So
Right.
he would be there for fucking months at a time.
But that's also a very sparse amount of us to get to do that, though.
It is generally, yeah, but
Like my state,
plenty in the locksmith field that requires a locksmith license. To do a
not
specific
my
job.
state. My state has you literally need more paperwork to pull a fish out of the water than you need to be a locksmith here.
Okay, so
I think
it
locksmith
just
is.
depends.
I
I guess
think
that's the other thing is state to state. There's so much variance. Maybe.
that's what I'm saying. Like locksmith, just the word is so fucking broad. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like, all right, locksmith, the guy with the airbag and the fucking long reach that scratched up my car, or locksmith, you know, the guy who master keyed an entire fucking factory. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like locksmith, also the guy who installed the ADA or whatever it is, the automatic doors in Walmart, locksmith. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah. Except, you can't drill open a safe and call yourself a locksmith because they're safe techs. You know what I mean? But I would still say that's locksmith work.
right.
So locksmith, there's tons. Copy house key, copy padlock key, locksmith.
Yeah.
I mean, even like I said, anything security related, like security cameras, any of that stuff
Locksmith.
in my state, that's all under locksmith for DCJS for the most part.
Tow truck driver, locksmith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Roadside. It's weird. It'll be weird to see. I mean, we've been around for 10,000 years. We're not going anywhere. The job constantly changes. It's just another change of the guard. It's going to be different. By the time we get to the end of our careers, we'll be talking about how we used to have wood doors, and to drill them open sometimes because the harbor was seized, and they'll be like, "Oh, you guys had wood? That's fucking crazy. Your cars don't float." No, it'll be weird to see what happens, but it is what it is.
Have you ever seen a intercontinental ballistic missile fly past a 20-story
This fucking
building
guy.
window?
I know someone who has.
The size of a telephone pole, I tell you.
Listen, I'm in that class, okay? I'm taking his SFIC class. And if you don't know who we're talking about, I'm not going to say his name. I'm in the class, and he's had us go up there one at a time and write out like his little formula, the way his numbers are changing. And I wrote down, I think the number 8. And I'm a pretty, the words I'm looking for here, my handwriting is not the best because I grew up in a time where the computer was pretty dominant.
Oh, you're pretty retarded. That's what you're.
Sure, why not? So I didn't.
Yeah.
I can type exceptionally well. My handwriting has suffered because of it. Not to
He
say that my
started to
handwriting
speak-
is not legible.
I'm
Most people in my
speaking
generation,
extra articulate now.
my handwriting is good enough, but obviously was not good enough for this person. And I made the comment because we're in this class. And I said, "Oh, that's my bad. I'm sorry. My generation just sucks at writing because we were raised on computers." He leans into me and he says, "You know what? That's bullshit." The most serious tone. I'm like, "Are you fucking high? Jesus Christ, back up, bro."
He leaned in and was
"I'm
like,
upset about that."
he's like, "That's what your mother said last night."
I'm just trying to lighten the mood and "Oh yeah, my generation's dumb, And he's like,
Dude, that'd have been fucking awesome.
I was like, all right, well, okay.
Who was it? somebody was talking about cursive. They were like, the current generation of kids isn't even learning cursive, and all of the
I sent you that post
all the
from one
documents
of the
that are
local
found in-
business owners here.
yeah.
He hires all the, he's got young people working at his restaurant, and none of them can sign their fucking name in cursive because they don't know how.
Yeah, and all the documents of our nation, like
Are written in cursive.
Declaration of Independence,
Yeah, so they don't know how to read it.
Yeah,
What does that tell you about fucking control?
like they're probably just looking at it like also fucking analog clocks and shit. Like they don't know how to read time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy how many people can't read one of those.
I had a friend, he's dead now. He killed himself, heroin. But he was.
I was gonna say, did he drive him? Never mind. Go ahead.
He was considered a genius.
Jesus.
Yeah, he was
just
considered.
Like he killed himself. Chris is like, I better make a joke.
No, I mean it's cool.
It was gonna be something familiar that he knew. But anyways, it went dark, and I said, I better shut up.
No. Maximilian, the last time I saw him, I was getting Chinese food with my girlfriend, and he was like, "Wow, I always thought you were gay." And I was like, "Thanks, Max." And then he was dead a month later. So we had that kind of friendship. So it's kind of funny that you're joking about it. He was considered a genius, always in triple E and all this shit. And he was like 23 years old, and he told me once he couldn't read an analog clock. You know what I mean? And it was fucking nuts to me. I was like, how is it possible to be considered above average intelligence, yet you can't read the time?
Like Rain Man, kind of? Where you like?
I guess so, right?
I was going to throw some Theo Vaughn at you, and then you talked about your friend dying of heroin, and I was like, oh, never mind. But...
Dude, his funeral was fucking wild because his dad was an atheist. And he pointed at the urn, and he was like, there's my son. He's like, he's not in heaven or hell. He's right fucking there. And I was like, oh, shit.
I have a friend of mine that I grew up with who pretty much gave up on education by like the 8th grade. I'll put it that way. He homeschooled himself, basically, and which is not a good idea when you're like, 13 years old. Anyways, he's not an academic giant by any means. He'll probably work the same job he's been at forever. But this guy has the most eloquent handwriting I've ever seen. It's like if someone studied calligraphy for multiple lifetimes. And I would be like, dude, you need to, whenever you'd burn CDs in the 90s, like you have to write down what's in this CD because you have this gift. And he was left-handed. He had this gift of writing that I've never seen before, never seen since. And I couldn't figure it out. Like God was like, hey, I'm going to curse you with fucked up teeth and in a 7th grade education, but in turn, I'm going to give you the best handwriting anyone's ever seen on the West Coast.
We had a kid in elementary school. His name was like, Roger, like Ubani or something like that. He was from Africa, and English was his second language. But everybody was getting his signature in their yearbooks, and I'm like, why is he so fucking popular all of a sudden? He could sign his name like so beautifully, like everybody wanted to collect it. And I don't know. I always thought that was really like kind of a neat thing. Like, as this African kid is like fucking better at me times 100 when it comes to writing in English. You know what I mean? And I never knew it. Never knew it until that point. It was like the last day I never saw that fucker again. I didn't get his signature on purpose. Just I was like, everybody else is getting it, so I'm not getting it.
Gentlemen, it's getting late. I'm gonna go do something else. Probably eat some
piss, yeah.
Oh, spit your pants. Be cool, guy.
All right. Well, it's been fun.
Hopefully, you can do this again before September. We got the information out on the first challenge, the padlock challenge. That's on pretty much everyone that's involved in TLA from what I've saw so far. Hopefully soon we'll get another challenge piece out there. So follow us on Lockjaw MFG. Check out the TLA. There'll be more information about these challenges as they come out.
This is something that's happened to me.
It happens sometimes. We all make fucking rookie mistakes.
No, my leashy will not go into a Jeep Wrangler lock all the way, especially the driver's side. And some of the Jeep Wranglers have a passenger side door lock. Hey, Chris, if you want to jump off, it's cool, man.
Okay. That being
You
said,
know,
guys,
I don't. It's going to be an auto. I don't want to keep you.
Boring automotive stuff. What was I saying? You guys know how to find me. You'll be getting out more information. It's been fun. I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah. Holler.
Brother.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Yeah, this right here. This has happened to me. I went to unlock a fucking Jeep Wrangler keyed ignition. No, Prox. What am I talking about? Kill yourself. It wouldn't open. My leashy wouldn't go all the way. So I don't know. Like, and also a friend locally had the same problem. Have you had it, Chris? Or not Chris? I'm so high, Eric.
Yeah. No, I haven't had that issue with the Sub 22. I honestly, I just kind of figured it was a rookie mistake. I'd fucking made that dumbass mistake the other day on that Acura I was telling you about. Fucking 1 through 7 in the door, and I fucking read number 8, which wasn't even there. Gave myself a fucking wrong cut code and sent me down a rabbit hole like an idiot. But we all have
this guy
those
right
days.
here. Did you put it in the passenger side door lock if there was one? Because I found, like, for whatever reason, passenger side door lock, like the leashy went in easier and actually contacted all the wafers. And people, people said I was stupid and crazy. Huh?
Maybe you guys have an older revision.
I don't know. I have one of the first ones made.
Yeah, because leashy, a lot of times they don't. Like, a lot of times I don't see where there's this big announcement that there's a new leashy coming out for, the same exact model. But you'll just get it. Like my Honda 66 leashy, I thought I lost it. I ordered another one and I was like, man, this fucking new leashy sucks, dude. Like, what is the deal? Like, why is it so, it feels like everything just kind of gets, like, it gets bound up trying to move the lifter through the fucking lock. Yeah. And I found my other one. And I looked at the two of them and I was able to compare them. And going down the, if you were to look, like if this was the key, down the center of the leashy, there's a bar that goes down the center of the leashy on the old one, my original one. On the new one, the new design, they don't have that bar going down the middle right here. So the lifters have, like, more leeway to fucking move around. And
what leashy is that?
It's really weird. It was the Honda leashy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The Honda 66. But, I didn't see anything where it was like, it was not like there was some kind of notification center. Oh, hey, we redesigned the Honda 66 leashy. Actually, here we go. Look, I'm gonna save
Han 58R is another one that they redesigned. The tip used to get stuck a lot, and it was like shaped like an arrow. It had like kind of this excess, and then they eliminated part of it so it doesn't get stuck as much on the shutter. I think I'm losing my internet connection.
Here we go. Let me see. You're still sitting there fine. Window. Here we go. There it is. See right here how it's wide open right there?
Yep.
So the original one that I thought I lost, that I found, there's a bar that connects right there, between there. And my original one is actually much easier to use than this new one. This new one, it feels like these lifters here, they feel like they bind up because they can move so freely through here. But my other one has a bar connecting the metal from there to there that kind of restricts movement, and it's so much easier.
It is fucking weird. Do they sell the old version, or is it the only one?
I haven't looked. Because I did find my other one, but now that I see that there is another version after buying that, I haven't looked. But I tell you what, I hold on to that motherfucker near and dear. I'm not losing that bitch again. Because that new one sucks, man. Oh, Honest says it sucks too. Look, new leashy designs. I think that's supposed to say sucks and get stuck.
Sucks, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting late, bro.
Oh, this guy here.
Call this.
So
I was just pissed about. Yeah, he's talking about the SIP.
Yeah.
He also said there was another.
You can decode that. A friend of mine bought key code to SIP 22. I forget what it is, but generic code was the only thing I had that was able to decode it for him. I think I either had to drop the first letter or something like that from the key code that he bought and throw it into generic code, and I was able to get the bidding for him. But yeah, it can be done.
My SIP 22 Leashy has letters for the depths, and my machine has numbers.
Yeah.
And then whenever I run a progression, it's letters. And it's fucking confusing. It's one of my least favorite systems. I once cut the key backwards because I put A. I'm going to fuck it up. A is 1.
A is 1, yeah.
And D is, I reversed them. And so my key, whenever I stuck it into the lock, it got stuck. And I had to pull the key out with vice grips and my foot on the door. And I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I totally roached her door lock. It was a Renegade push to start. So I was just like, fuck, I hope she never uses her insert key. I never got a call back. But that was an experience. Well, shit, y'all. Thanks for joining us on the 14th installment of Locksmith Late. We're gonna call it. It's getting late here.
Yeah, it's 12:30.
And yeah. Fucking Texas is coming up. September 21st is the convention. If you can show up, try to compete in the competition. It's cheap. It'll be fun. It'll be unique. So I hope to see you there. Anything else?
Sounds good to me. Hope to see everybody in Texas. I'll definitely be there this year as well. I'm not fast at anything, so I probably won't compete.
It'll still be fun.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get whooped, so I think there's going to be some real competition this year.
Yeah.
I'm excited. All right, y'all. Peace out.
Later. Oh, Anna missed me.
I don't know if mine's going to end. It's having trouble